2 wins out of 2 for just 2 teams so far in the Premier League. Champions Manchester City and top of the table Brighton. But tonight a chance for one of these two to join them in the 100% club. Game night's live at Selhurst Park. Roy Hodgson has never beaten Arsenal here, while the Gunners had the best away record in the Premier League last season, and it all started with a win here last August. Crystal Palace take on Arsenal. Live commentary coming up on Talksport.
The 23-24 Premier League campaign is underway.
And Edouard! Palace lead at Selhurst Park inside 7 minutes.
We're expecting to play a potential Premier League winner, and I think they will show us the respect to make certain that they bring their best game.
It's a good side that I now think needs to start pushing for top 10 as opposed to always finishing 12, 13, 14.
Saka, edge of the penalty area, goes past, left-footed, drives the ball into the top left-hand corner of the net. Quite outstanding from this young Arsenal side.
Well, there's a lot more pressure on Arsenal this season after last year.
Arsenal look to be in the box seat for so long, but they haven't been able to sustain it.
He's got a team now who will compete.
Declan Rice is going to go all alone. Oh my word!
I expect him to take Arsenal to the next level.
Champagne football now for Arsenal.
There is no limit. They have to set the limits, and they can be as good as probably can visualize they can be.
Good evening, I'm Adrian Durham, and it's a hot one in South East London for Crystal Palace against Arsenal. Even the Palace assistant, Ray Lewington, is wearing shorts, but then he'd wear shorts on the touchline if they get drawn away to Siberia Rovers in the Europa Conference League next season, wouldn't he? You're listening to Game Night on Talksport with Ladbrokes. We play together. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus begambleaware.org. Let's get the team news first of all with Talksport's chief football commentator Sam Mathface.
Well, Crystal Palace opened their season with a 1-0 win at Sheffield United. They're unchanged from the trip to Bramall Lane. Mark Gurhey limped off in that victory, but is fit to captain the Eagles tonight. Michael Elise opted to stay at Palace rather than join Chelsea this week, but it'll be a little while before we see him back in a Palace shirt because of a hamstring issue. And Will Hughes and new signing Matthias França are still unavailable. They named just 8 on the bench this evening. Johnson is the goalkeeper, Ward Anderson, Gurhey and Mitchell the back 4, Jefferson Lerma, who was very good last week, and Doucouré in midfield, Eze in the number 10 position with Ayew and Schlupp out wide, Schlupp making his 200th appearance for Palace, and Edouard, who scored the goal last week, up top. For Arsenal, the big news, it's Ramsdale in goal. And Arsenal weren't perfect last Saturday by any stretch. They are forced into a change with Jurrien Timber out for several months after injuring his ACL. He's undergone surgery. Takehiro Tomiyasu comes in. Thomas Partey's position will be interesting. His hybrid role worked to a point last week, but it was in the space he vacated in that right back area from where Anthony Elanga created the Forest goal. Bukayo Saka equals Paul Merson's club record of playing in 82 consecutive Premier League matches tonight, set between 1995 and 1997, and Gabriel remains on the bench. Ramsdale the goalkeeper then, Partey sort of right back, White, Saliba and Tomiyasu, Ødegaard, Rice and Havertz in midfield, with Saka, Nketiah and Martinelli up top.
Sam, thanks very much. Those lineups brought to you by Ladbrokes. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18 plus begambleaware.org. Let's bring in our former England midfielder Danny Murphy is with us at Selhurst Park. You all right, Dan?
Yeah, good. You?
Yeah, real good. The big question was who's in goal. I think everybody apart from me said it would be Aaron Ramsdale. No surprise really, but what is Arteta thinking there, and what is David Raya thinking? Could have been Brentford's number 1 all season, has gone to Arsenal and he's sitting on the bench tonight.
Well, there's only a few different scenarios that could be in play here. One is that he's happy to come and fight it out with Ramsdale and trust his ability. 2 is that he's been told he will be the number 1 and just to wait his time till he gets him in, but he's been assured that by the manager. 3, he's been told he's number 2 and they're giving him a ridiculous contract to suck it up.
OK, if they have given him a ridiculous contract, and let's face it, he's going to be on Premier League wages.
A lot more than he was earning.
Ramsdale's going to be on decent wages. They're paying a lot of wages to 2 keepers. I don't think many clubs do that, do they?
No, and I also think from his perspective, I'd be surprised if there weren't other options, so I would say that's the least likely out of the 3. If he said to him, look, I need competition for Ramsdale, I think you're the man and I rate you both really highly, do you want to come and battle it out? Then I'm not sure that's what I'd want to hear as a goalkeeper, but some people's mindset's different. If they trust themselves and go, I'll battle it, no problem. And he's going to take that opportunity. My gut feeling suggests that with the goalkeeping coach there who had him at Brentford, the Spanish guy, my gut feeling is that Arteta thinks he's better than Ramsdale and he'll just bide his time.
This might muddy the waters as to your reasoning. He's on loan this season from Brentford, and
That's only for FFP though, isn't it?
There's only an option to buy at the end of the season. So would his wages change between his contract at Brentford and his new employers at Arsenal if it's only a temporary deal until the end of the season? They're not giving him a contract, are they? So he's not going to be on more here than he was at the Brentford Community Stadium, for example. Not until next summer anyway.
Well, he could be, but no, probably not. They could get around that in various ways. So huge bonus here, whatever. There's ways of doing that. But I don't think this is a money thing for the player. But it's a great point you make.
So it lends itself to the idea that actually they're going to want him to be playing at least some part in this competitive season, isn't there? Because he's going to earn himself a contract.
There's another aspect to that. If he does play for Arsenal and has a really brilliant season, then he's got some choices. There will be some other takers apart from Arsenal, and they may be wanting to offer him more money, in which case Arsenal might lose out on a keeper because they didn't seal the deal now.
And it's only an option, not an obligation. So, and there is a fixed price, I think, in the deal. So Brentford know that they're going to guarantee 30 million quid from Arsenal, but somebody else might outbid them, for example.
But there is also the thing as well that Arsenal might not like what they see, and actually they're bringing him in and he's saying, "Yeah, I'll prove to you I'm the best goalkeeper you've got. I'm better than Ramsdale."
It's a bit odd, isn't it?
It is a bit odd. But actually, now you've enlightened me. I didn't even think of that when I was talking about it a minute ago. The more you think about it, if it is a loan, are we sure it's a loan with no obligation?
Absolutely a loan.
With no obligation.
Just an option.
Well, then Arsenal are in a good position. The only negative is if he does get in and have a wonderful season, there will be other takers.
Yeah, listen, I think it's a really odd one, but let's see what happens. It's Ramsdale in goal tonight. Interesting what Sam was saying about this hybrid role for Thomas Partey in midfield and at right back as well. I think it's very interesting. He mentioned as well Elanga steaming down the left-hand side in a gap that Partey had left. So I think Partey was up for an Arsenal corner. That's what Forest broke from. But the problem there was Ben White didn't go across because he was worried about what was in the middle. And it got to the point where Elanga was going so fast, Saka was steaming after him, couldn't catch up. Saka late in the game, who maybe needs a bit more of a rest than steaming after left wingers late in the game. But Ben White didn't necessarily do his job properly either. It relies on everybody to do their jobs properly if you're going to take a right back out of position and go into midfield.
If you play a back four, and whether it be the right back or the centre half, is given licence to leave that position to join in the possession and dominate the other team, which is where it stems from. Mostly you see the better teams in the division doing it because they dominate the ball. Then you are going to leave gaps. It's inevitable. The only way you don't leave gaps if your back four stays at home, or the full back goes and a midfielder drops in, you've still got that four. So in that respect, you are going to leave yourself open by allowing him to do it. And if you're up against a decent side, which most teams are in this league, with pace on the counter, you're going to have problems. So the only way really, if you have a Kyle Walker doing it, he's got the best powers of recovery in Europe as a fullback, so you get away with it. And Man City have the ball more than anyone else, hence the fact John Stones can step in from centre half and get away with it. And they've got the best holding midfield player in the world at the moment. Anyone else doing it, Trent does it. The advantage, creativity, assists, goals. Liverpool look vulnerable.
Trent gave the ball away for the Bournemouth goal.
Even the end of last season at times. Partey playing at right back against the better teams will be a huge problem if they persist with that.
It's fascinating because I think what he wants to achieve, Mikel Arteta, is to somehow generate this box midfield, which a lot of the elite teams are now trying to play.
What do you mean?
Well, they play with the two sort of almost holding midfield players, Partey and Rice, and then they have the two attacking midfield players in the centre of the pitch, so that you can build up faster through the thirds, get more advanced up the pitch, and then if you do lose the ball, you've got some solidity in the middle. That's the idea. I'm not sure that it works if you do end up getting exposed on the flanks like they did against Nottingham Forest, for example. But that's the general idea. I think that's the premise. That's the philosophy.
No, you're right. And I think the problem you've got for Arsenal is that, yes, they dominate against teams such as Palace or Forest, but when you play against the better teams, if you're gonna vacate areas of the pitch and feel like you're not going to be able to do that against City and Liverpool and not get punished. So the system they had last year when Ben White played on the right and they had that nice partnership with Saka, it was quite rigid, but it worked really nice. And Ben White's really athletic, and getting him up and down that right hand side was a positive.
And
for
interestingly,
Arsenal.
That's how they lined up in the Community Shield, which suggests that actually maybe they won't do this experimental system when they play against the very best.
And I think also Zinchenko's coming back from injury, sat on the bench. There's no Kieran Tierney tonight. The injury with Timber was devastating blow for them because he looked really good, didn't he? Especially
he settled in so well.
Yeah, that is a huge blow for them. But you take him. I mean, Ben White probably prefers playing centrally. I don't know. I'd have to ask him. But I thought him and Saka had built this nice relationship down the right. I quite liked it. And now you're moving that. The big question mark is Gabriel. What is going on there?
Well, you do wonder, but he is on the bench tonight. In terms of Crystal Palace, they dominated the game really last week at Sheffield. Even dominated possession, which traditionally Roy Hodgson's not necessarily that kind of manager. But they only scored one goal. They had a lot of chances, they had a lot on target, but only scored one goal. Clearly, that's something they will need to rectify if they're going to win games like this tonight, Dan.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I think the feel-good factor around here after last season, you get a sense that the fans are really excited, even though Zaha's gone. I mean, Elise staying's a big thing, isn't it? We'll probably talk more about that, but I do feel like they are. They're under a little bit of pressure in some ways, even though I'm contradicting myself here, but they're under a little bit of pressure in the way they finished the season and that feel-good factor of playing that type of football. I think the fans want them to continue that, and I'm not sure at the beginning of the season when you want to build a foundation that Roy will let them off. I'm not sure he will play the same way at the start of the season.
Okay. Well, we'll wait and see, shall we? We need to talk about Palace and their attacking options, though. And there was, you're right, huge relief when Palace secured Michael Elise, ignoring the transfer bid from Chelsea, signed a new contract just last week, even though he's injured and still out at the moment. He's still recovering from a hamstring injury. Zaha's left the club as well, as you say, and so they start this campaign without their two best, arguably, players from last season. They've got a 19-year-old Brazilian striker, Mateus França. He's been signed from Flamengo for, it could rise to £26 million. He's not yet fit to play. So let's get the thoughts of some of the Palace faithful who are preparing for life here at Selhurst without Wilf. Danny Murphy, Eze created 7 chances in the game against Sheffield United, which I think is actually second best ever in the Premier League for Crystal Palace. Only Jason Puncheon has created more chances in a Premier League game for Palace. He also had 8 shots, none of them on target. So that's kind of Crystal Palace's problems encapsulated in one player, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, in isolation, last year he got 10 goals, didn't he, Eze? That's a hell of a return from midfielder, 10 Premier League goals. I think he's the one they'd missed the most. Now Zaha's gone, more than Elise. And now Elise only got, I think, 2 goals last year and 11 assists, which is good going from a wide man. Assists is really end product is a real indicator of what you are. But Eze is the one who I was surprised is still here, because I think he is absolutely outstanding, and he, for me, is the one that's ready to walk into a top team. Not walk, but compete at a big club and be competing for a place in the 11 and playing Champions League football. He's that good for me. I think Elise is potentially that good, but if I was one of the bigger clubs, it would have been Eze had been going, yes please, take him out. For Palace, he would be a bigger miss. Elise is a miss, but Eze would be the one, because he has that wonderful ability to travel with the ball and go past people. Good on set plays, gets a goal. So really looking forward to seeing him play tonight, but they need a few others to chip in. I know it was better when Roy came in and they got some confidence and they edged away from the bottom, but first half of the season they struggled.
But this kid who's still injured, França, you kind of like the look of him, don't you?
Well, he's super skillful, tries things all the time. Obviously Roy will have to discipline him a little bit in the ways of the Premier League and Roy's methods, because you can't just have him losing the ball doing what he wants. But in terms of replacing Wilf, he's that type who wants to get the crowd on the feet. He's a type who tries tricks, flicks, he scores a goal, shoots from anywhere. He's got all that flamboyant Brazilian skill that you expect. And Palace wouldn't have paid 20 going up to maybe 26 if they didn't fancy him. So he's going to be someone Palace fans can look out for and be excited by. But getting Elise back, having Eze in the team, I wouldn't be surprised either if they see one more come through in attacking areas, because goal scoring is a problem.
Well, let's see what happens. We've got some news about a transfer that is going to go through, and that is that Manchester City seemingly have got their man. They've agreed a £55 million fee for Jeremy Doku, the Belgian international. He's a good player. He's a Belgian winger, really good.
He's really quick. He's got that really low sense of gravity. He just flies past people.
Yeah.
And vroom, you go one-on-one, you world of trouble.
He can go either foot as well.
Yeah, he can go either way. End product's problem. Not great numbers, but yes, dynamic. Going to have loads of the ball. Type you wouldn't want to play against. Adds more competition. I thought it was inevitable City were going to strengthen in attacking areas with losing Mahrez and Gundogan's creativity in goals. Because people forget, although Gundogan was a midfielder, didn't half chip in. So yeah, exciting one that for City fans.
It is. There's more on the website, talksport.com. There's a brilliant transfer blog there you might want to check out. You're listening to Game Night on Talksport with Now Sports. Don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action, like Crystal Palace against Arsenal, live tonight for $11.99, no contract. Search Now Sports, and before kick-off at 8 tonight on Talksport, we'll discuss that battle for the number one spot at the Gunners. 2-0 here at Palace back in August last year, first game of the season, live on Talksport, of course. In fact, it was the first game of the campaign, Friday night. 50th win of his career as the Gunners manager for Mikel Arteta. Martinelli first half, Guehi own goal second half. Who knew then that Arsenal would be the closest challengers to City by the end of the season? There was even a period around April time where I think we all thought, this is it, it's going to happen, Arsenal are going to be champions, but City did what City do in the end. Both sets of players all warming up as the Homestead end fills up nicely, full of the ultras, and the Palace fans enjoy the atmosphere here at Selhurst Park. We are 20 minutes away from kick-off. It is Crystal Palace's first home game of the season as they take on Arsenal. Let's go through the lineups, all thanks to Ladbrokes. And here's your match commentator Sam Matterface with a recap of the team news here at Selhurst.
Crystal Palace finished the season with an unbeaten home run that helped them pull well clear of any danger that was lurking when they sacked Patrick Vieira. Tonight they look to extend that to 6 games unbeaten since Roy Hodgson's return. They're unchanged from their victory away at Bramall Lane on the opening day of the season. They start with Johnston in goal, Ward, Anderson, Guehi and Mitchell, Lerma and Doucouré as the holding midfield players, with Eze in the number 10 position, Schlupp and Ayew out wide, Edouard up front. Arsenal have been forced into a change at the back with Yuri and Timber injured. They alter just one from Forest. Eddie Nketiah keeps his place after a goal-scoring start to the season. He has 10 goals in his last 19 starts. Just the one change in all then, Tomiyasu coming in. So it's Ramsdale in goal, Partey playing at right back and into midfield, White, Saliba and Tomiyasu. Then it's Havertz, Ødegaard and Declan Rice in midfield, with up front Saka, Martinelli and Eddie Nketiah through the middle.
Cheers, Sam. Those lineups brought to you by Ladbrokes. 18 plus, begambleaware.org. I am looking around Selhurst. I'm looking in every corner, and it's something I don't think I could miss, but I haven't seen the special Crystal Palace giraffe, which has been created and built. I've got a picture of it in front of me. It's not here. It's been specially built to celebrate Croydon's Borough of Culture. Yes, Croydon, the Borough of Culture. But have you seen the seen the giraffe, either of you?
They've done a lot of work in Croydon, by the way. Have you been there recently?
They did need to.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. Well, are you disagreeing with me, Sam?
I'm just telling you the fact.
Well, I'm in Croydon quite a lot.
Are you?
Yeah, so I'll be the judge of that. No, it has improved massively.
Why? Why do you just hang out in Croydon?
Well, no, I say quite a lot. I live not far.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
So
I don't live in Croydon, not far.
You pop out for a coffee in Croydon, do you?
No, but sometimes I have to go through or go in there for various reasons. There's,
What do you go? What reasons are they?
I'd rather keep them to myself.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you're right. They do need to do a lot of work in Croydon.
Yeah. Do you want us to move on?
Yeah.
Okay. I will give you a quote from the Crystal Palace chairman, Steve Parish. He said, quote, "Croydon Stands Tall is a brilliant project which we are proud to support with our very own special giraffe."
Why didn't they make an eagle?
Why is it a giraffe?
It's just standing tall. That's it. Croydon Stands Tall is the catchphrase.
Couldn't Croydon soar? Would that be easier?
Yeah,
Fly high.
Really good.
Fly high, yeah.
I like the...
So it's breadth with a great wingspan.
Fly higher than an eagle.
There's a quote from the chief exec of Croydon Town Centre Business Improvement District Limited, Snappy, Matthew Sims, who says, "Croydon, a place defined by its people who stand tall at all times." I know a very small person from Croydon. He doesn't stand tall at any time.
He produced this programme.
Yes, he does. We love. Oh, he's just told me he's from Bromley.
That's the next door borough. That's
like
where
that's any better.
That's where I grew up.
Come on. Oh, is it? Yeah. Well, there you go. Small people.
Small-minded.
Which is why you go in there every week.
For a coffee. One of your special coffees.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we move on? Yes, we shall. Let's further look ahead to tonight's Premier League action with Now Sports. And I mentioned some of the live football we've got coming up earlier. I forgot to mention Wednesday, Talksport 2. What a game. It's a Battle of Britain. Hibs against Aston Villa in the Europa Conference League playoff first leg at Easter Road in Edinburgh. Sunshine on Leith. I think even at that time of night. 5:45 kick-off. We'll have it live on Talksport 2 with Mark Wilson on commentary duty alongside former Scotland striker Chris Ewellamo. Here at Selhurst Park, Palace taking on Arsenal, less than 10 to kick off, and it's coming up on Game Night on Talksport. As we await the teams coming out from the tunnel away to the corner, away to our right here at Selhurst Park, the subs making their way along the touchline. You can hear the noise these fans create. I must mention while we wait for the players that James has texted in saying, Croydon, the borough of culture, you're having a giraffe. Oh, James,
well
that
done.
is outstanding. Thank you
Really
very
good.
much for that. Spot on. And listen, we're talking about Croydon being the borough of culture. Crystal Palace, I think they're one of the few clubs left that have cheerleaders. The Crystals are there ready to greet the officials and the players, forming a tunnel for them as the referee takes to the field. As Crystal Palace and Arsenal, led by Martin Odegaard, Palace led by Joel Ward, who seems to have been here forever, take to the fields, and Glad All Over reigns around this stadium. They actually played this song after Man City's win over Newcastle on Saturday night, so it's catching on. But this is the stadium that I associate this song with more than any other, mainly because it was sung by a Palace fan, and the red and blue flags are flying. Arsenal know only too well that you can't afford to throw points away if you're trying to take the title off Man City, and tonight's one of those nights where we find out if the Gunners are serious about the title shot. Crystal Palace take on Arsenal here at Selhurst Park. Your commentary team on Game Night, former England midfielder Danny Murphy, alongside Talksport's chief football commentator Sam Matpace.
Thank you, Adrian. Good evening, everyone. Monday night is Game Night on Talksport. But a bit like the Boomtown Rats, Arsenal don't like Mondays. The last time they won away on a Monday night, Freddie Ljungberg was in charge of the team. Last season, every other day was a happy day on their travels, but since December 2019, Arsenal have lost all 4 of their Premier League away games on the first day of the week, including here 18 months ago. And Palace are no mucks. Only Brighton had more shots on the opening day than Roy Hodgson's Crystal Palace, who have played with the handbrake off since the former England manager was reinstated. In fact, since Hodgson's first game back in charge, the Eagles have won more points than the Gunners. And Nottingham Forest gave Arsenal a scare last week. It's not guaranteed that Monday night is going to be a good night for Arsenal. Let's go through the two teams, starting with the home side, Crystal Palace. Sam Johnston, the England goalkeeper, started the last 10 Premier League games either side of the summer. He retains his place in goal in front of a back 4 that includes Joel Ward, who is closing in on the Palace Premier League appearance record. It's his 280th appearance tonight, alongside Joachim Andersen, Mark Gurhey and Tyreek Mitchell in the back 4, which is protected by Jefferson Lerma, who had a good debut, and Cheick Decore, who has been linked with a move to Liverpool during the course of the last week. Eberici Eze plays behind Schlupp, Ayew and Odsonne Edouard, who scored the winner against Sheffield United 8 days ago. For Arsenal, Aaron Ramsdale is their goalkeeper. Thomas Partey will combine duties as a right back and a central midfielder. Ben White, William Saliba and Takehiro Tomiyasu make up the defence. Rice, Ødegaard, Havertz are in midfield. Saka will stay wide on the right, Martinelli wide on the left, and it's Eddie Nketiah through the middle. 9 goals in 18 starts last season. He got 1 from 1 so far this campaign. Palace in their blue and red half jerseys, blue shorts and blue socks, will attack the White Horse Lane end of Selhurst Park in this first half. And Arsenal in bright yellow with black wavy lines running through them and deep blue trim will shoot from left to right in this first half of the game. Before we start, there will be a tribute to a number of Crystal Palace players and officials who passed away during the summer break. Who was the Millwall chairman, and Trevor Francis, who was the manager at this club, honoured by the Crystal Palace and the Arsenal fans actually here inside this stadium tonight. Friday night we go to Kenilworth Road for the first time this season. Saturday lunchtime it's 2 new managers, Iraola at Bournemouth and Postecoglou at Spurs. There's a huge Sunday session on the way, and when all is said and done, Ali McCoist and Andy Townsend will pick through everything at breakfast time on Mondays and Tuesday mornings. Alan's back Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, and Jeff Stelling joins us in December. But tonight we're at the Palace with the best away team in the land last season. Can the Gunners make it 2 from 2? They get us off and underway. Danny Murphy knows exactly how Roy Hodgson works. He was his captain at Fulham. What traps will he lay for Arsenal tonight under the lights at Selhurst Park?
Well, I thought I knew how it worked till I saw this Palace team played here at the end of last season. That wasn't one of Roy's teams. It was a team full of confidence and attacking creativity. I would credit to Roy, actually. I'm joking aside, he steadied the ship and then gave them the freedom to go and express themselves and enjoy themselves. Got Eze back in the team, did a wonderful job, hence the fact he's still here. More of the same from the Palace fans. I think that's what they want to see. Well, they certainly are making it a colourful night with red and blue smoked pyrotechnics billowing up into the sky from the Holmesdale Road end away to our right where the Ultras sit. There's a huge amount of smoke coming onto the pitch from that area of the supporter base right behind the goal that Sam Johnson is defending. Aaron Ramsdale has the ball away to our left-hand side, and Arsenal looking to build out from the back. Palace enjoyed 68% possession last week against Sheffield United, had 24 shots, scored twice, totally bossed the game, scored once and totally bossed the game at Bramall Lane. Now we'll expect a different match tonight. Eddie Nketiah comes forward, heads the ball down to Ødegaard, picked up by Kai Havertz, who tricks his way to the edge of the box. There's lots of space for Martinelli, left side of the box, jinks on in his right foot, takes a long time to get his shot away. It pops up to Havertz and then comes back out to Saka. Saka turns and twists and heads towards goal, but he can't pull enough power behind it, and it's blocked by Anderson and out towards the far side. And Martinelli there had a great chance to open the scoring, Danny. Should he hit it first time? Yeah, well, maybe on his, or took it on his left. He had all the space to go on his left. Great play from Havertz, good feet, and then found the pass. Sloppy start from Palace.
It's a great chance for Arsenal, and we only played 2 and a bit minutes on Talksport. The ball's on the halfway line with William Saliba. Declan Rice just dropping into the back 4 at this moment in time. We did expect that Partey would go into a right back position, but it was Rice who moved into the back 4 and then into midfield. Slightly different from last week. We'll see how that materialises. Ben White out towards this near side where now Thomas Partey is waiting for it. It will be a fluid formation, I think, from Arsenal throughout the course of of the evening with players filling in. They've got such versatile players that can play in a variety of positions. Martinelli has it wide on the left, midway inside opposition territory. He travels from the touchline centrally and then lays it off back into the heart of the defence, and William Saliba, the Frenchman who had such a superb season, a first full season in Arsenal colours. Saka, who's been superb for a while now, takes the ball in from the right side, cuts in on his left foot, scored that terrific goal last week, lays it off to White, then goes on a dart down the touchline. He's blocked off by Mitchell before White can find him, but it's been Arsenal who have dominated the ball in the early exchanges I think we anticipated.
Yeah, really confident start from Arsenal, popping the ball about, probing, moving Palace from side to side.
They have the ball again with Partey finding Saka down in the right wing position. He accelerates towards the byline, then produces a cross into the box, headed behind and away by Ayew, who's coming back to cover Nketiah, who's wearing that number 14 shirt, made famous by Thierry Henry, and it goes out for the first corner of the game in front of the Holmesdale Road fans away to our right hand side, who are so noisy. They make such a din. It's intimidating for travelling supporters and players. First corner to come in from Saka on this near side. A lot of the corners last week that they took went into the near post. Be interested to see where this one goes from Bukayo Saka, the first of the game so far. 4.5 minutes gone. It's in towards that near post again, and it's headed away by Odsonne-Edouard and out towards this near touchline where Ødegaard can take it. Then White will try to send it back to Saka. He successfully does that. Partey shifts it on but gives it away, and then Doucouré sends it long. Ramsdale's starting position is very high and good, and as a result of that he can intercept the long ball forward.
It's a fine balance for Palace, when to commit and engage, try and win the ball back, and when to keep your position, keep your shape.
Saka again, coming in from the right hand side, looking to try and pop it centrally into Ødegaard. It's cut out by Jeffrey Schlupp on this near side. Saka wrestling with Tyreek Mitchell. The ball almost went out of play, but he just about kept it in. Our referee today is David Coote, by the way. Our VAR, Jared Gillett. And the ball pops out of play towards the touchline on this near side. Just a little bit of advice to all the Arsenal players: keep away from that angry man in the technical area, because
you don't want to mess with Roy.
He's well armed, that Roy, as was found out by Max Lowe last week at Sheffield United. It was fascinating last week, actually. In the first half of the game against Forest, Arsenal had 82% possession in the game. They've had 92% in the opening 5 minutes here. This is Saliba, just short of the halfway line. Back up towards Partey. Partey out towards the near side, and it comes off Saka, and Roy Hodgson allows that to run behind him. It's out for a throw-in.
The thing is, what Roy always imparts the message that sometimes when the other team's having good possession, don't worry about it, don't get panicked, don't fly out of position and try and win the ball back when you're feeling impatient. It's one of his consistent messages, but you have to balance that out with actually knowing when to come out, because you can drop off. We saw that a couple of times in the first 5 minutes, Palace dropping off, filling in the holes but not really engaging and making it too easy for Arsenal. So they've got to find that balance, which hopefully they will do more as the game goes on from Palace perspective.
Fascinating there as the ball went back to Saliba from Kai Havertz, who tricked his way through a couple of players, then gave it back to Saliba. Declan Rice moved into a sort of left centre half position, then told Thomas Partey to come more centrally to receive the ball. He was prodding and pushing his teammates, and he's quite vocal in the middle there, is Declan Rice. He's not the captain, that job is for Ødegaard, but he's definitely a leader, I think. The ball is out on the left-hand side with Martinelli. He then swirls it back to Saliba. They keep the ball so well here at Arsenal. We've played just over 6.5 minutes. It's still goalless on Talksport. It's up high towards the edge of the area. Nketiah trying to profit from a little bit of a fumble by Anderson, but apparently he was fouled by Nketiah, and it's going to be a free kick on the edge of the penalty area. Still goalless, Danny.
Yeah, if you had a computer in front of you with the average positions on, I mean, Partey would be a central midfielder at this point, and it would be a back three. He's falling back into right back now. The thing for that, when Palace do win it back, there is going to be space down the sides if they've got the runners.
The player's average position graphic that I can give you isn't available until the 25th minute, I'm afraid, so you'll have to wait a little bit longer for that. You are listening to Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 0 on Talksport with Now. Don't forget, with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action like Crystal Palace versus Arsenal live right now for $11.99. No contract, search Now Sports. Schlupp under pressure from Havertz. Referee says play on because he's got it through to Decore, despite the fact there could have been a foul. The advantage is played and Palace steam forward with Ayew down the right hand side, trying to trick the ball into the near post. It's stopped by Saliba as it slides through the 6-yard box and it's put out a play on the far side in front of the Arthur Wake stand and away for a throw into Crystal Palace. Good work.
Wow, it all started from fantastic footwork in the middle of the pitch from Schlupp. Skipped around a couple, won the tackle, got it out to this right hand side, and Ayew says, I'm going to have a go at you, I'll come at you, Tommy Asu, see what you've got. Gets the cross in, brilliant positional play from Saliba to stop the cross.
Talksport live at Selhurst Park on this Monday night. Beautiful Monday night as well. It's been really hot today and nice in London. Sun has been shining, it's blue sky everywhere, and it's certainly been a sunny period in the history of Arsenal Football Club, so close to winning the title last season. Great touch, taken down by Lerma. He drags it upfield and plays it wide. Schlupp onto Mitchell, he couldn't quite control. Partey getting back and winning it for Arsenal in the right fullback position, and then Saka is robbed by Mitchell and by Schlupp, and it goes out for a throw-in on this near side, and it remains goalless. To remember that it's still very early in the season. Arsenal played most of the game, you would say, or at least 65 minutes of the game very well against Nottingham Forest, but then run out of steam a little bit. Did get caught from a corner where Partey had been dragged up the field and was acting like a midfield player, as he is at this moment in time, but then found himself exposed when Forest very rapidly broke on them. That was in the second half, and then they had a very nervous last 10-15 minutes or so.
The other problem you've got, Sam, as well, is so many times I saw Arsenal last year with Ben White overlapping Saka and getting in great positions when they had little, 2v1s down the right-hand side. But if he's playing in and Partey's ahead of him, he's not going to be able to fly forward from that more central position.
Well, it's something that happened in the Community Shield, and you and I were talking about that beforehand. Maybe against the best teams they don't necessarily do that, but he is very good at getting on the outside of Saka, and actually sometimes he just makes a run which allows Saka to drift infield because there's a bit more space. It's 0-0. Saka has the ball for Arsenal in those yellow shirts, bright yellow shirts. One of those kits that many people think is quite garish, but
it's awful.
I think it's going to be a cult kit that in the future. You're not sure? Here is Saka down the right hand side, tucks it infield, and Nketiah trying to get hold of it. Havertz is there as well, breaking into the box, but it's away by Decore. Comes back via Ødegaard to the right wing position, looking for it is Saka. Saka now infield towards Ødegaard once more, who travels down the right side, needs some support. Saka drops off to provide it on the corner of the box, and they're a little bit hemmed towards the touchline on this near side, Arsenal, but they're trying to make room now, and Saka has just made some and then curls the ball towards the far corner of the goal as he cuts in on his left foot, but he didn't have any power in that shot, and it just sort of was a bit betwixt the two. It wasn't really a shot, it wasn't really a cross, and it ended up coming into the arms of Sam Johnson, the goalkeeper.
What is evident though is Saka's getting a lot of the ball, and it's going to be a long evening for Mitchell if they keep feeding him the ball the way they are. He's got such explosion, hasn't he, either way. When he's got that ball at his feet, where do you show him? You need help, you need someone doubling up with you, talking to you as you come across. He's that good, Saka, you can't do it on your own.
Crystal Palace have been in good form since Hodgson came back, 6 wins from 11 games, and they have scored on average just under 2 goals a game, which is not what Palace were used to the last time he was in charge. If we look at the table from the time that he walked in the door to now, they'd be in the top 6.
Unbelievable.
But they still don't score as many goals as the other teams around them, and that is something that I think they need to rectify. There's no Jean-Philippe Mateta in the squad tonight. Rumours that he might be moving on. Here is Anderson, back to Gurhey, who guides it back to his goalkeeper, Sam Johnston, who got given the number 1 this season. He was signed by Vieira from West Brom last campaign. Took him a bit of time to get hold of the number 1 position from Vicente Guaita, who still is not very happy about it, which is why Remy Matthews is on the bench tonight.
I think the 2 centre-halves for Palace give them a real positive in terms of the football they play now. You talk about the possession last week and the the way they finished the season. A lot of moves start from those back two. They're very comfortable on the ball, aren't they? They want to play out more. They want to get on the ball and dictate play. They're not the type who want to lump it forward and just defend. That's not them at all. Good pairing.
It will be fascinating to see how Anderson uses his telescopic right leg, his laser guided precision diagonal passes, because last year he was very much sort of angling those to Wilfried Zaha, who obviously has moved on now, but it'll be interesting to see whether they still sort of employ that tactic every now and again. Eze has it in the centre of the field, does well to shepherd the ball out towards the left-hand side. Schlupp takes over and then nudges it down into the left wing position where Jefferson Lerma has peeled out there. He tries to find Schlupp with a return ball, which was followed by Thomas Partey, who goes back into the right full-back position, and Arsenal look to play triangles to get themselves out of a tight spot. But the press is on from Palace, and it's not easy to get out, and actually Gurhi's come across and won it, but then given it away, and now it's broken down on the halfway line, and they're speeding upfield. Arsenal. Saka has released Nketiah, who's running to the right angle of the penalty area. He's got two over on the far side. If he can squeeze the ball out there, instead he goes infield to Saka, who tries to steer it centrally. It's blocked by Gurhi, who got back to cover and blocked the effort. It goes behind and away for a corner.
Well, he recovered well, Gurhi. It was his mistake in the first place. A good break from Arsenal. That man Saka involved again. There was an overload on the back post down that right side, and Nketiah, if he could have got his head up, the pass was on. Martinelli was the spare man because Joel Ward had to narrow up.
It's a couple of times actually that Martinelli's been the spare man on that far side. Here's the corner to be taken by Saka. Are they going to go near post again here? It seems to be the tactic. Right hand in the air from Saka. He whips it in, left-footed. This is a little bit deeper towards the far post, and Johnson comes travelling out, takes a really good catch. High in the air.
Too loopy, wasn't it? Too loopy.
It was an easy one for him to grab from the sky.
It's a bit safe, that. Don't like those corners, the loopy safe ones. They encourage good goalkeepers to come and catch it. Got to try and get a bit more pace on it.
You mentioned it earlier about the increase in possession and chances. Since his return, Crystal Palace have averaged 15.7 shots per game compared to under 10 in his first spell, and under Patrick Vieira, where they were really struggling for shots. Long ball forward down the left-hand side to get them higher up the pitch, Crystal Palace. It's picked off by Edson Odward, who turns the ball back into the middle of the park now and finds Lerma on to Doucouré, and then further wide it goes. Now it's picked up by Joel Ward onto Ayew. Ayew trying to trick his way past Tomiyasu, produced a cross into the centre, punched away by Ramsdale, and Eze couldn't get hold of it on the edge of the penalty area. Ødegaard reacted first, and then Havertz chips it into the left channel. And speeding forward was Martinelli, but Anderson had the pace to get there ahead of him and nudged it back to the goalkeeper and to relative safety. I think it would have been a free kick on Anderson anyway.
Well, it was a breakaway, wasn't it, from Arsenal? And looking from where we are, I thought Martinelli was going to show Anderson a clean pair of heels, but Anderson, quicker than I thought. Just before that, down the other end, Ayew beating Tomiyasu again to concern. Not sure he's comfortable in that left back position, Tomiyasu.
He's played right back, hasn't he? He's played centre back, and now he's playing left back. He's played left centre half for Japan.
Twice he's flown past him there, Jordan Ayew.
Here is Edouard down the left hand side, getting into the box. He's got on the outside of White, then on the inside, then tried to feather the ball forward. It took a little deflection. There was a short claim for handball, but it looks like White actually is grabbing something else that he thinks the ball hit. They've won it back high up inside opposition territory. Eze now has it, right-footed shot, and this one was on target. He had 8 shots against Sheffield United and not one of them hit the target. This one did. Winning the ball inside Arsenal's half. They turn it over Crystal Palace. Eze gets himself into a shooting position. He tests Ramsdale, goes to his right and clutches it. But Arsenal not having it all their own way now, Danny.
Well, Edouard got in on that inside left position, down the side of Ben White, because Thomas Partey isn't there. There's a massive space there, and he's one-on-one inside the box. He sits him down, and then he just mistouches it, Edouard. Should have done better. He should have got a shot. It was a good chance that was for Palace.
Yeah, that Partey
growing into the game now.
Certainly an area that they can exploit, Crystal Palace, and I think they've realised that. You would expect Roy Hodgson and Ray Lewington and Paddy McCarthy to have done their due diligence, as all football clubs do, to find the weaknesses, the chinks in the armour of the team that went so close to winning the title last season. Arsenal do have a great record in London derbies. They did last season. They were the first London club ever in top flight history to post double figures for derby wins in a campaign. Crystal Palace's derby days usually ended in defeat. They have won just 4 of their last 30 all-London clashes, but this has been a bright start from both. Martinelli's had a good chance for Arsenal. Edouard and Eze have had efforts for Crystal Palace, but after 18 minutes, it's Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 0 on Talksport.
See, I'm not sure on the benefit of having Partey in there, to be honest.
Can you understand why he's trying to do it, and is it just not working, or can you not understand why he's trying to do it?
I don't really understand why they're doing it in this particular game, because they should be dominating possession and on top of them, so you want width. You need to stretch Roy's teams, Palace's teams. They're generally they've got numbers in the middle. You need to get out wide, make some 2v1s, and Ben White isn't going to get out here as much coming from a centre-back position.
Tomiyasu trying to get down the left-hand side. He runs into Joel Ward, who slides in, puts the ball out, and it's away for a corner on the other side this time. Fourth corner of the game for the away side, who scored the most goals from crosses and joint most goals from corners last season in the Premier League, Arsenal. This one going to be taken by Gabriel Martinelli, who's just getting acquainted, let's say, with some of the Selhurst Park faithful over on the far side in the corner of the Arthur Waite and the Holmesdale Road end.
It's funny, you know, you see these different hand signals the players put off. I used to say to the lads, when I took corner, I'll tell you after this corner.
Here is the corner, right-footed. It's swung in towards the near post again. It's headed away and behind, and Declan Rice felt he was going to get something on that, then didn't. Yeah, Mark Gurhey got in front of him.
I would generally, for the big lads, I'd always try and, obviously from out, be an outswinger on the right, in-swinger from the left. I would always try and hit it with pace somewhere in between the 6 yard and the penalty spot, and they'd know that. But I'd stick my hand up anyway, just to let the opposition think I was doing something different.
Ball in towards the near post again, and it's headed away once more by Jefferson Lerma, and it goes out to the far side, back in by Martinelli. This is a deeper one. Gurhey heads it away from the edge of the 6 yard box, back in by Rice, who rises on the edge of the 18 yard box and heads it down, but it's off target. Johnston scurries to his right, picks it up in his purple t-shirt, and then will distribute to Mark Gurhey just left of the penalty area. 0-0 the score. So you're just trying to mess with their minds. Those signals don't actually mean anything.
I think they do with some players, but if you think players can put on a sixpence where the ball goes each time, you're just trying to whip a good ball in there with pace.
Here on the right hand side, Ayew maybe trying to do just that. Moves down the right of the Palace attack, then turns it back to Eze, who just drifts from the centre area to the right side, back to halfway, and Anderson, the big Danish central defender. Palace have won just one of the 12 games that he hasn't started this last year or so, and it's worked out wide from Eze to Ayew towards the edge of the penalty area. He chops back in and looks for someone to nudge it to. Anderson eventually is the recipient, and it goes out wide to Ward, who crosses the ball into the box too heavily, goes over everyone's head, and then Saka scurries into a right back position and hits it to halfway. Palace will rebuild again. They'll come forward down the left with Jefferson Lerma. 20 minutes gone on Talksport, and it's Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 0. Doucouré up to Edouard, holds it up well, brings Eze into play, body swerves away from Havertz and then tries to nudge it through to Schlupp. It comes back out to Doucouré, who shoots from distance. Wasn't too far away that from Doucouré. He was 22 yards from goal. It fell on his right foot, and he just went to hit it as powerfully as he could. It landed left of the goal, and actually I think it was some way wide in the end and was never really troubling Aaron Ramsdale, but enough looked good.
Yeah, it was the angle we were at, but it was good play from Eze, getting on the ball more now, probing, getting more comfortable and confident in possession. I like the shape of Palace actually. They've got really two holding solid players there, protecting the two centre halves, Lerma and Doucouré, trying to pick up Havertz and Odegaard, and then Eze's trying to do a job on Declan Rice. They know what they're trying to do, and they've grown into this game now.
Talksport live at Selhurst Park with Martinelli in possession over on the far side. He nudges it towards his left hand side. It's picked up on the far touchline by Havertz, and then infield by Tomiyasu. Out it goes to Partey, and then back infield to Saliba, who's on the cusp of the centre circle inside opposition territory, and then Odegaard, who hasn't really got into the game, and actually I thought last week made a couple of odd decisions when he was on the ball. Rice has been felled by Edouard, and it's out towards the far side again with Saliba.
Well, I'll tell you something, Sam. In Roy's teams, you very rarely see a team that will keep picking up the ball in the pockets, because he normally will work very hard in the week with the two central midfielders or one central midfielder on making sure those players get picked up. It's something we did very, very well when we were at Fulham under Roy.
Ball out towards the far side, and Arsenal still in possession, coming forward. And it's Martinelli who travels laterally from the touchline on the opposite side of the pitch to where we are in the main stand that will eventually be demolished. Over towards the far side, Tomiyasu, Martinelli, then back to Declan Rice. Rice then out towards the near touchline, and White. Patient football this from Arsenal, keeping hold of the ball, working Palace from side to side, trying to wait for a gap to emerge, a run to be made, and an opportunity to present itself. Ødegaard swirls it to the left. It's Martinelli in the left wing position now. Tomiyasu back to the left, and Havertz got a bit of space to get the ball in field. He goes safe to Martinelli instead, who's chased out towards the far touchline by Doucouré.
They can't keep going wide. There's space to cross it there, no pressure on the ball.
Space now down the left for Martinelli, who gets into the penalty area. Ødegaard pulls off to the edge of the box, decides to go infield, and then decides to hold on to it again for a little bit too long. He's got help from Havertz, and then wider still is Tomiyasu, and again they just don't get the ball into the penalty area, and instead they go to try and knit some play together once again. Tomiyasu to Saka, who's drifted into the centre from the edge of the box. They've just not been able to get beyond this stubborn Palace defence, and it's cleared away to halfway.
Well, they've got themselves in positions to cross. They're just reluctant to do so because they don't have too many people in there who are going to head it in, but you've still got to put it in. Even if you whip it in low and you let the likes of Nketiah and Saka try and get on the end of it, and Havertz can head it, to be fair to him.
Ball out towards the far side, taken down by Martinelli once again. He travels towards the edge of the penalty area, he cuts infield. It's blocked by Ayew, but comes through to Tomiyasu, stepped on the ball, and now it's been picked up by Ayew, who's running at the defence, and he fancies his chances to run at Declan Rice and Saliba. He holds it up really well, and as a result of that gives his team an opportunity to get up the pitch and take the pressure off the defence, which had been camped on the edge of the penalty area.
He did, but there was an option. There was a runner. We had seen him try to play him in. There's a big open space, but sometimes you need a breather, you make that choice.
Currently Palace 0, Arsenal 0, and for the latest odds you can head to Ladbrokes, where right now you can back Crystal Palace to win the game at 7-2, Arsenal to win at 11-10 on, and you can back the draw at 2-1. It's all thanks to Ladbrokes, 18+, begambleaware.org. Here's Joel Ward scampering forward for Crystal Palace into the right wing position. The cross comes in from Ayew, and it's an easy catch by Aaron Ramsdale. Commanding take by him.
Worst cross out of 3, but again a good breakaway. Started from Gurhi's pass. His pass has been brilliant this evening. Both feet. Like him a lot.
Remember, when we're done a little bit later on, you'll be able to have your say on the Sports Bar 03717223344. And Premier League All Access is now available. The podcast, it's available on YouTube if you want to Google it. It's on the Talksport channel. Premier League All Access. Perry Groves, Alex Crook and I just dissecting the weekend, stats, debates, numbers, predictions, some interesting takes on Everton and Manchester United in that. Ball into the box on the right hand side, sent centrally by Bukayo Saka, headed away by the tall slender figure of Anderson. It goes back out wide to Martinelli, and then it's into Declan Rice into Nketiah trying to turn, he runs to the edge of the area, drinks past two players, gets to the byline, he's brought down by Ward, he wants a penalty, the referee doesn't even flinch, and the ball is cleared by Ward upfield towards Jordan Ayew, and Crystal Palace have possession once again. There might have been a collision there involving Ayew with I think it's Kai Havertz as it's gone down. That's a yellow card. 25 minutes in.
First one, isn't it?
First one, which I'm quite surprised about actually, which is why I thought, is that the first one we've had today? It is. It won't be the I'll probably jinx it now, but it won't be the last.
Oh my God.
What are you saying?
It's just beyond belief, some of the yellows that they're given.
Explain to me why you're unhappy, so that the listeners at home that can't see it.
He's won the ball, and his foot's there, and he's tripped over his foot. He's not deliberate. I mean, they're having a debate about it now, but this is the Nketiah run. Great bit of skill, not a penalty. He's gone past Joe Ward. Great bit of skill. think he's tripped over his own foot even. Nice positive run from Nketiah though. That's what he wants to do. When you're not getting the ball, go and find it, hunt it down, and make things happen. But the referee's given a free kick, which fair enough. He saw it coming together, and he did trip over his foot. But it was it was never a yellow card. I mean, you're going to have 10, 15 yellow cards a match. We give him for that.
Well, we've had on average around about 6, I think, over the course of the Premier League.
I'm all for yellow cards for petulance, bad behaviour, and all those things. Wait, time wasting, not a problem.
Free kick.
Let's not go stupid.
Ødegaard to take it over on the far side. So this is 20 yards from the edge of the penalty area. They went a little bit earlier there, Arsenal. They've got to reset. Is that time wasting? The ball in by Ødegaard in towards the near post. It's flicked on by Partey. There was a collision inside the box. Havertz went down. The referee said, come on, just get on with it. Elise is ours. Elise is ours. Something about Chelsea, and Elise is ours. Sing the Homestyle Road stand away to our right hand side. I think they're pretty pleased that they retained him. We haven't seen him tonight because he's got a hamstring injury.
Yeah, big plus for everyone. Big plus for everyone. It's going to be interesting now, Havertz and Ødegaard getting this game, because what you're going to find, and this is something they'll have worked on definitely in the last week, is Decore and Lerma are following them back. And when Arsenal are building up, those two will drop as close to the centre halves. They don't care how deep they go. So how are they going to find that space? They're going to have to find a different way to break this Palace team down, Arsenal. Probably down the wings.
That's a conundrum that they're going to have to solve, and Nketiah might be able to do that. He's turned past the Palace defence. He's gone into the area. He's shifted the ball towards the far corner. He's hit the post. It's brilliant play from Eddie Nketiah. The ball won back high up by Bukayo Saka in towards the edge of the area the ball fell, and diagonally running from the right side into the centre was Nketiah, who showed brilliant strength to hold off the challenge of Anderson, and then he caressed the ball to the far corner and he hit the foot of the post.
Brilliant turn, sharp Nketiah, so sharp. Really good play, desperately unlucky. It was bad play from Schlupp, wasn't it? Give the ball away in your defensive third, you are in trouble against this Arsenal side. But the sharpness and the speed of turn from Nketiah.
Honestly, I mean, when he starts, he usually scores 28 goals in 58 starts. That is a terrific record.
I don't understand why so many Arsenal fans keep talking about needing another striker.
He just loves goals.
Think how many Premier League teams would love him in the side.
I think Arsenal are quite happy. I mean, behind the scenes,
but he's number 2, isn't he, really? If Jesus fit, he's going to play.
He is. He hasn't done a bad job when Jesus has been out of the team.
Done a brilliant job.
More often than not, by the way.
I really like Nketiah. I'm a big fan. You do well bringing someone in who's better than him, I tell you that much. You'd have to spend an absolute fortune.
Well, he's in the team at this moment in time, Eddie Nketiah. He's probably, as you say, getting his chance because of the injury to Jesus. But he did say, actually, at the beginning of the season, I'm not here to fill in for anyone, mate. He believes in himself.
Yeah, so he should.
Here is Declan Rice nudging the ball back to Saliba. He sends it to Aaron Ramsdale. Ramsdale under pressure from Odsonne-Edouard, kicks it long and high up the field, looking towards the area that Saka would occupy. He puts pressure on Mitchell. He does brilliantly, Saka. Absolutely brilliantly. Not only did he win the ball, he kept it in. He then fought with Mitchell, so Mitchell had to commit the foul. He's won that foul, that free kick for Arsenal, and he's up the pitch, and Arsenal have any pressure that they were under a moment ago gone.
Strength, isn't it? Strength, technique. Just got to be simple there, Mitchell. As soon as you want it back, pop it off. Gay was on.
Danny Murphy, who played in the Premier League.
You're the first time I played here, Sam.
When did you play here? Tell me. Were you in crew colours?
I was, and I had Vinnie Jones grab me round the throat.
Were you playing Wimbledon?
Yeah. FA Cup replay.
I used to do the in-house commentary for Wimbledon when they played at Selhurst Park. Would you believe? That was back in the 90s.
Yeah, it was the 90s, you're right.
I may well have done the game, mate. Ball cleared away by Mitchell up towards the halfway line. It's headed away by Saliba and out towards this near side.
Well, I was only about 17, 18.
So was I.
We're the same age. We're not the same age.
Oh, roughly, I think.
Are we?
Yeah, what year were you born?
I know, you look much better than me, though. Bloody hell. Oh, dear, I'm using the wrong moisturiser.
I'll give you some of mine, it's special. I got it off Instagram.
Has it got a tanner in, a bronzer?
course it has.
I can tell, yeah.
Actually, I've just come back from Greece, I'll have you know.
Oh, okay. What, the musical?
Here's Declan Rice over towards the far side. And then back to Saliba, then into Martinelli, who is a little bit like Grease Lightning. He clips the ball out towards the right side. Saka brings it down. He takes the ball towards the edge of the penalty area and then plays it wide to Odegaard's in offside position. That was a bit brainless from
Well, it's Odegaard's fault, not Saka's, because Odegaard doesn't need to come out, doesn't need to be offside and doesn't need to be that wide. Stay in the danger area, play your little 1-2s, bounce it for Saka, be a wall. If you leave, the problem is sometimes when Saka, he's so good, you don't actually need to come over to him. If you leave him one-on-one, he loves it. He was bringing another player over there, Odegaard. They got a bit mixed up. Sometimes just give him the space to work his magic.
There's an interesting sort of brains trust on the front row of the director's box tonight. Gareth Southgate, former Crystal Palace player and England manager, is watching from on high. He's sitting next to Steve Parish. Mark Bright is there as well, and so is Talksport's phone-in host Alan Pardew is there. He was with Majestic yesterday on the phone-in. He's around every single Sunday from 6:30 to take your calls, and he was good fun yesterday. He sort of Majestic gets very animated and very excited, and Alan tries to bring a bit of the calm actually. It's a good duo. Every Sunday night, 6:30.
I'll have a listen.
Have a listen. I'm surprised you...
no, I haven't heard that one actually.
You haven't? It's only been out for a couple of weeks. I'll tell you what, at half-time I'll show you how to use the app. You can listen back on your way home.
I've got the app.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm up to date with that.
Yeah, and the new updated app, by the way, has got video footage on it as well now, so that's a new invention that we've got, as Declan Rice is just adjusting his contact lenses on this near side. Someone went to put something in his eye and he wasn't happy about it. He flinched. He's come off towards the near touchline. They are waiting now for a free kick to take place. Now Declan Rice isn't allowed back on for 30 seconds. That's one of the new rules, the new interpretations, because he's had treatment off the pitch. He's not allowed to come back on for 30 seconds. So there's no point in him moaning. It has to be 30 seconds off the field of play. They've given it away. Saliba took it out in the sky, but allowed it to be nabbed by Ayew, who's gone into the area. He's gone down under a challenge from Saliba. Did Saliba get the ball? If he did, it was a perfectly timed tackle.
He's quick, Saliba, isn't he? Great recovery. He's just thinking he's going to catch him. Ayew nicked the ball, bearing down on goal, and Saliba gets back and puts that right leg out.
Oh, it was a mistake.
Was.
And it invited pressure from Crystal Palace. Ayew just couldn't get away from Saliba.
They need a little jolt, Arsenal. Not at their best.
Might provide it. Partey on this right side plays the ball infield to Ben White. White to Partey once again. Nketiah drops, looking for the ball, and then spins down the right corridor. It's out wide to Saka, then into Declan Rice, who's made some space, then found Nketiah, who's in behind the defence, chips the goalkeeper and gets it over the top of the bar. Couldn't find the target, Eddie Nketiah. Two good chances and he hasn't scored, but he's got into two great positions, and Declan Rice breaking from midfield, setting up that opportunity for Eddie Nketiah. It was on the right hand side for Arsenal. Odegaard spotting the run of the big number 41, who nudged it down the right channel, where Eddie Nketiah timed his run to perfection. He was onside and then just lifted the ball over the advancing goalkeeper, and it was just a little bit too high.
It just bobbled as he did it. You know what, just as I was saying, they're not at their best. That was the best move in the game, and the reason it was able to happen is because Declan Rice, late run from deep, and Eze switched off. Great little ball from Declan Rice outside of his right foot into Nketiah's pass. Should be 1-0.
Great run from Declan Rice into the opposition penalty area, which really caused Palace problems. This is causing Arsenal problems. Odsonne-Edouard at the other end trying to get the ball centrally, but Rice is there to cover. He takes it away to the left hand side and then aims to clear. Doucouré can't keep hold of it, deflects off him and goes out for a throw in over on the far side. We've played 36 minutes. It's been a good watch, hasn't it, so far?
Yeah, it's been a really good watch, and I just thought on that chance there, although I saw what he was trying to do, and I've had the advantage of looking at a replay where it just sat up as he tried to flick it, I just thought the safer one is he had time just to roll it down the side of him on the floor into the corner. Bit extravagant that, the little dink from that close.
Ball thrown down the line by Tomiyasu,
It's won by a Palace head, forward by Rice. Doucouré's got it back halfway, right side. Palace in possession, then they lose it, then they get it back again. It goes back to Tomiyasu, who's just inside his own half, and then he plays it infield to Saliba. Just short of the centre circle is Ben White of Arsenal, I think, who uses the same moisturiser as me. Played out towards the right side. Partey travels infield, and then it's back to Saliba, and then he nudges it infield to Partey. Partey swirls it out wide, space for Saka to attack Mitchell now. He runs towards the edge of the area, cuts back one way, then has to shift the ball infield. Good work by Mitchell to show him inside, but there's space now for Ødegaard on the right. Saka makes a run in the right channel. It's chipped into the box by Ødegaard, but headed away by Anderson. It was an easy read, and then Ben White climbing over the back of Odsonne Edouard heads the ball away. Then there's a collision between Ødegaard and Edouard, and we get a stoppage as a result of that. And Mikel Arteta isn't happy, so he has immediately reacted to this by calling all of his players over to the touchline for a little time out.
Does he ever look happy on the side?
Do you know what? I did see him very happy in the tunnel after the game, after being very agitated after the match against Nottingham Forest. He stopped for about 5 minutes to cuddle a dog. He was very happy during that period.
Fair enough.
He was just having a little cuddle with a new training puppy inside the stadium.
As you do.
As you do. Why not? It is Talksport that gives me the opportunity to tell you about some of the stuff that's coming up on breakfast tomorrow. The former heavyweight world champion boxer David Hay and Arsenal and England legend David Seaman are on the show with Ali McCoist and Andy Townsend tomorrow morning. I saw them both today. Actually, I was in the office having a chat with them a little bit earlier on. Andy very much enjoying being part of the breakfast show. Ødegaard just asking his teammates to calm down, waving his arm down left and right of his central position. Just keep your heads a little bit. It's Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 0 on Talksport with Now. And don't forget, with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action like Crystal Palace versus Arsenal live right now for $11.99. Search Now Sports.
It's a wonderful example, wasn't that, of Declan's little deft touch and his ability to spot a pass. Great anticipation, and then can I make the right pass?
Ayew wins the ball from the right side and heads it down to Doucouré. He then threads it out far side, in from Ward to Odsonne Edouard. Havertz trying to win it. Strong challenge on Odsonne Edouard. I think that Havertz didn't really do enough there. He's won a free kick, but maybe fortuitously, and now Arsenal are racing up the other end of the field, and Palace aren't happy about it.
The ref didn't give it, Sam.
The linesman gave it on the far side.
Assistant referee, they call him.
Sorry. Still stuck.
I like linesmen.
Still stuck in the 90s.
I like Lino.
Yeah, Asso doesn't really work very well, does it?
Yeah.
Well, actually, careful. Here is Nketiah trying to get towards the edge of the penalty area. Plays it out towards the right-hand side. It's picked up by Saka. Ødegaard's peeled away to the edge of the box, but Saka's retained possession. He's tried to trick his way into a shooting position when there were options inside the box. There were 4 yellow shirts there, and he decided not to lay it off.
Just a bit hasty. He's coming into bodies. When you're coming in on your left or a right foot or inside on from the left wing like Martinelli against this Palace side, you will always be running into bodies. The 2 central midfielders of Roy's teams will never be far away when you come inside. The space is behind or through. Just a bit more patience there from Saka.
Well, that's 0-0, and we played 40 minutes. It's Talksport at Selhurst Park, which has been the home of Crystal Palace for 99 years. They are in the planning stages of rebuilding this main stand that currently holds 5,000 people. They're going to replace it with a state-of-the-art 13,500-seater stand, complete with glass fascia. That will take the best part of 3 years. It's been dogged with delays up until this point. This stand in particular is caught in a bygone era, isn't it? It has its charm, but no facilities, and the modern forward-thinking football club probably needs a little bit more than that glassy-eyed nostalgia. Here's Saka, edge of the penalty area, and Nketiah away. Ødegaard picks it up, left-footed, drives the ball goal, with that down the centre of the goal. It's tipped over the top by Johnston and out for another corner.
Good effort. Worth a strike, got a bit of space. He should be saving it really, straight down the middle, pushes it over the top.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult to see because of that rather antiquated setup that we've got here. That huge iron post which stands between us and the goal away to our right hand side. Luckily we've got chairs on wheels so we can move either side of it when the ball goes into the penalty area. Ball picked up by Saka. He's going to take the corner kick from this near side, and it will be a left-footed delivery from the Arsenal wide man, and it's into that near post again, and it's flicked away by Odsonne-Edouard, back in by Martinelli, away by Gurhi, and then picked up on this near side by Bukayo Saka once more. He's fouled by Eze. That's going to be a free kick, and Arsenal have got possession. They quickly release Partey down the right side, and there's a bit of space for him to get a cross in. He gets a cross in deep to the far post. Martinelli on the volley. It's narrowly wide of the left hand upright. It was a good move, and Partey picked him out, and it was well executed by Martinelli, just narrowly off target.
Well, Saka got the free kick again because he's so strong. Eze couldn't get the ball off him. It's unbelievable, his strength. Then he's up, quick free kick down the right hand side. Partey this time has advanced past him, pulls it to the back post. It's a really difficult chance on the volley from the corner of the box for Martinelli, but he has a go. Goes wide. Good finish to the half, isn't it, from Arsenal?
Yeah, 2 minutes to go before the regulation time is up at the end of the first half, and it's Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 0, live on Talksport. And if you fancy a little bit of music tomorrow morning when you wake up, then why not check out the Chris Evans Breakfast Show on Virgin Radio. You may well have heard Chris this morning talk about his skin cancer diagnosis. Our best wishes go to him. He'll be on Virgin Radio in the morning from 6:30. Here is Declan Rice clipping the ball out towards the far side. It's taken down by Martinelli, a couple of yards in from the touchline. It's played infield to Tomiyasu, and then on to Declan Rice, who sprays the ball out towards this near side. Saka takes it on. Odegaard has gone beyond him, and it's well watched by Jeff Schlupp, who fills in brilliantly from that left wing position to help out Tyreek Mitchell, and it's cleared away by Crystal Palace. Those two banks of four doing their job at the moment. Martinelli out wide. Mitchell intercepts before it can reach Saka, and it comes back infield, and on the halfway line Odsonne-Edouard is trying to craft a Palace attack. We're in the final minute of the first half, and I think there will be a bit of frustration from Arteta that they haven't made the breakthrough, but I think he came here knowing that a Roy Hodgson team was going to be difficult to penetrate.
Yeah, well, they've had two good chances, haven't they? He's hit the post and Nketiah was unlucky. The other one he should score. But overall, I think Roy will be quite pleased. I mean, he'd want a little bit more going forward, but the discipline's been good. Two midfielders have stifled Odegaard and Havertz to a degree. They've had to give up possession doing that, of course, but overall I think he'd be reasonably pleased. They've got to get Eze on the ball a little bit more and keep getting that ball to Ayew, because I think he's got the beating of Tomiyasu.
Talksport on a Monday night, game night. Whenever there's football on a Monday night, it'll be live on Talksport. Friday nights as well. We've got Luton against Chelsea for you this week. Bournemouth against Tottenham on Saturday. Around the ground with Adrian Durham, and there will be just 2 minutes of added time at the end of the first half, which I think Mikel Arteta is a little bit upset about. This game defying convention, as is the normal way. We've had hardly any, just one card, and we've had only 2 minutes of added time. There was a 2-minute stoppage just for that head injury, wasn't there?
I thought there was 2 minutes so Declan get his contact in.
Here is Ben White down the right side into Saka, trying to cultivate the ball into Nketiah, who spun and turned, but Gurhi did so well to stick to his task and drive him down the right side. It was blocked and goes out towards Odegaard. Back to Saka once again, who rides the challenge of Mitchell, holds him off brilliantly and keeps hold of the ball.
Unbelievable.
Into Partey. It's almost like he's got a magnet in that boot for the ball, but they've given it away now, and it's gone down in the middle of the park, Odegaard, and Odsonne-Edouard is steaming forward. He set up Eze inside the penalty area. His shot is blocked by Rice initially. He tangles with Ben White, goes to ground, wants a penalty, and eventually it's cleared away by Tomiyasu upfield towards Nketiah. He's trying to deal with Gurhi. Odegaard's got back to his feet, but it's Crystal Palace who have got the ball and maybe have the last chance of the half. Ball elevated out wide towards Jordan Ayew, who's taken it down in the left wing position now. He's gone on the outside of Thomas Partey, kept hold of it well, just about kept it in.
down by the byline. He needs some support. That support arrives in the shape of Mitchell, and then it's a heavy pass by Mitchell, and then Ayew does brilliantly to retain possession for Crystal Palace, bumping Ødegaard off the ball.
Strong boy.
And then getting it back again. And Arteta just wants them to hold, make sure that they get through to half-time without conceding a chance here. Crystal Palace want to move it forward. The ball's back with Doucouré. We've played nearly our 2 minutes of added time at the end of the first half. Doucouré forward, colliding with Nketiah, goes back into the centre circle. Picked up by Jefferson Lerma, switched out towards the far side. There is the half-time whistle. Well, I told you that Arsenal don't like Mondays very much. The best team on the road last season, just struggling to open up. Roy Hodgson's reborn Crystal Palace. They've had the best chances. Bukayo Saka has played well in the first 45 minutes. And in Eddie Nketiah, they've had two great chances. One that hit the foot of the post, one that was steered over the top of the crossbar. But they're in a game, Mikel Arteta's team, no doubt about that. At half-time, it's Palace 0, Arsenal 0.
Mikel Arteta with his action man haircut, head down, focused as he goes down the tunnel away in the corner to our right. His players will follow him, led by Declan Rice. Actually, some of his passing has been majestic in that first half. And Danny Murphy, I don't know about you, but I've really enjoyed watching that midfield battle. Check Doucouré, you know, he's Palace fans tell me he was their best player last season, linked with a £70 million move to Liverpool this summer. That hasn't happened yet. Jeff Lerma alongside him, 5 years at Bournemouth, 3 of them in the Premier League. Those two in the centre for Crystal Palace. But for Arsenal, you've got Ødegaard, who keeps drifting out to the right hand side to try and be creative, and Declan Rice, I think, has been exceptional in that first half as well.
Well, I think why Ødegaard is drifting out to the right is because the two holes where him and Havertz like to gain the ball in those central areas are just filled by those two midfielders. I did it for so long with Roy that every time I watch a Roy team, I know that when you're up against it, there will always be those spaces filled. I can see how well the coach, the two lads, that he knows that those two are going to go high. So rather than the two Palace centre-halves be outnumbered with Nketiah, Ødegaard and Havertz, he gets the two central midfielders to follow them back, be next to the centre-halves. He doesn't mind if it looks negative. 4v3. The threat has got to come from somewhere else. Obviously the wide players are good for Arsenal as well, so that's a problem. And then at least you stop them playing those balls through you. We saw with Man United, for example, in the last couple of games, their midfield, great example of being so wide open and easy to play through and run through. You can't do that with Roy's team, so you've got to find a different way. And the way they did it, well, they gave the ball away themselves, Palace, and then Nketiah with his amazing sharpness spun in, maybe should have scored, but he was unlucky. That was his own skill that got him in for the one that hit the post. And the other one was the first time a midfielder for Palace switched off, which was Eze. Declan run off the back of him, got in and played a beautiful little pass into Nketiah. We missed the best chance of the evening. But Palace, I think, have shown enough on the counter to suggest they're in the game.
Yeah, I think so as well. Ayew's pace has been exceptional, probably their biggest threat.
Yeah,
I would say. Eze, maybe we're looking for a little bit more from him, and maybe that will come in the second half. Edouard had a good chance to get a shot away, but didn't in the end. But bearing in mind, said last week that Crystal Palace dominated possession at Sheffield United. Arsenal very much dominating it here. 68% of the possession for Arsenal. Just the one effort on target for both. I want to mention a quick mention for Guéhi. Gareth Southgate is here tonight watching, as Sam said in commentary. Some of his passing, you mentioned it in commentary, has been superb. He is actually, like Maguire, right-footed, but playing on the left side as centre-half. He's got 4 England caps as well. He could go with either foot. There's something about him that says, listen, if he is going to make a change, and it's not going to be Maguire, if Maguire's not playing at club level, which Gareth said could be a problem going forward, Mark Guéhi's surely in the picture.
Has to be. He hits a left-footed pass, considering he's right-footed. I think it was Edouard in down the left-hand side, 78 yards to perfection. He's such a calm footballer. You know, the Chelsea upbringing, you can tell he's got talent. Maybe the only thing, if you say another young player like Colwell, maybe for example at Chelsea, is he got that huge physical presence?
Is he a good defender in your experience?
Yeah, he's a good defender.
Good enough.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking, comparing to Maguire and what Gareth likes, the imposing figure for set plays. England very good on set plays. Would that push him more to someone like Colwell? Is he a little bit bigger? But yeah, I mean, Guéhi's absolutely, I don't know whether it's Guéhi or Guéhi, by the way. He's saying Guéhi, you're saying Guéhi.
There's an accent over the E.
Guéhi.
Is that a hybrid of the two?
He's done it in French, no?
Guéhi.
Gay.
We know who you mean, anyway.
Gay.
The geezer wearing number 6.
Yeah, the geezer wearing number 6. I like him a lot.
Mark.
Dave. I like him a lot. I'd be absolutely comfortable seeing him in an England shirt every week. Well, not every week, every time they play.
Yeah, I think it's been a terrific first half, despite the fact there's no goal. Second half coming up live on Talksport. By the way, there's no midweek live football in the evenings this week. We do have Hibs Villa on Wednesday, 5:45 kickoff. It's live on Talksport 2. But in the evenings, tomorrow, kickoff will be with me and Danny Mills. I want to get an insight from Danny on what it's like watching his son play. His son's on loan at Oxford, playing League One football this season, so I want to get an insight into the feelings of a dad watching his son play. So we'll do that among many other things tomorrow night on Talksport, 7 till 10. And Wednesday night, me and Scott Minto will be on kick-off on Talksport. And every Monday and Tuesday morning, until the arrival of Jeff Stelling in December, it's Ali McCoist and Andy Townsend, your hosts on Talksport Breakfast from 6 till 10. It is, isn't it?
Yeah, really good.
They're a great laugh, and they know a lot about football as well. Do not miss it. Tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. And they're joined tomorrow by David Seaman, the former Arsenal and England keeper, and the former heavyweight champ David Hayes also on. And I'm going to be on as well. I'm on at 7 a.m. This is the dedication to the cause. Are you impressed? Or am I just stupid?
Surprised. Yeah.
Hold on.
I'm surprised you
tell
get
him what you
bullied.
told Goldstein.
Well,
You get paid for it. It's your job. Just do it.
he's not paid to be on
I'm
at
not
7
sure
in the
I do.
morning.
I think he is. I think.
I'm not totally
How long
sure.
are you on for?
Well, if it was Alan Brazil, I'd be on for about a minute. With Ali and Andy, it might be a proper conversation. Yeah. So
Alan knows what he's on about.
yeah, I'll be so tired it won't be worth listening to. Anyway, that's 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Ali McCoist and Andy Townsend on Talksport Breakfast. The Crystals are back out doing their thing on the pitch. That's Croydon, Borough of Culture for you. And it's been cultural football as well, but no goals. Palace 0, Arsenal 0, half-time on Talksport. Back here at Selhurst Park, crowds getting back to their seats after half-time refreshments, and there's expectation here, I would say, among the Palace faithful. There's expectation that they may just get something out of this game. They've shown enough in that first half, but Arsenal dominated possession, dominated chances as Aaron Ramsdale comes out, heads to the goal in front of the Holmesdale ends, and the Arsenal players in their luminous yellowy green tops with black wavy lines on. It's not an away kit that's gone down very well this season, as I understand it. Let's see if we'll get goals in this second half. Still no sign of the giraffe, by the way. That might head one in if they decide to bring it on Palace. It's Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 0. Second half, live and exclusive to national radio, and only here on Game Night on Talksport with your commentary team, the former England midfielder Danny Murphy, and alongside him, Talksport's chief football commentator Sam Matface.
Arsenal have had 9 shots, their most in the first half of a Premier League away game, without scoring since Boxing Day 2019, which ironically was Mikel Arteta's first game in charge against Bournemouth, where they also had 9 shots. Crystal Palace have won 3 of their last 23 home league matches against Arsenal. They drew 8 and lost 12 of those, with 2 of their victories coming in the Premier League only, but they gave quite a good account of themselves in the first half, and it will take a little bit more wit and invention by Arsenal if they want to open up this stubborn Palace backline. We're underway with Palace shooting from left to right towards the Holmesdale Road, and in the second half of the game in those blue and red half shirts, and they're coming forward after a back heel from Schlupp. A ball through the centre of the 6-yard box, it flashes right the way through it. Ramsdale comes out like Superman, it flashes past his gloves and goes out on this near side for a throw-in. No one attacked it, Danny.
Lovely bit of play down the left, bit of skill from Schlupp. He gets Mitchell in, who whizzes it in front of Ramsdale, and I think if Ayew takes a risk there, he taps it in. I mean, it's a bit firm, the cross, but that's the area you want to be putting it in. Getting across you, man. Yeah, a bit firm.
Let's go. Crystal Palace with Sam Johnston in goal. Mitchell, Gay, Anderson and Ward, the back 4. Doucouré and Lerma. Eze is the 10. Schlupp and Ayew flanking Odsonne Edouard in attack. Arsenal with Ramsdale in goal. They're in bright yellow, steward yellow, with wavy black lines circling around their sponsor, which is in blue. Thomas Partey white, Saliba and Tomiyasu. Ødegaard
Havertz and Rice, and then Saka on the right, Martinelli on the left, and Eddie Nketiah had 2 good chances in the first half. Through the centre, it's still 0-0. You're listening to Talksport. The ball has flown out from the middle of the 18-yard box from the feet of Sam Johnstone towards the far side, but very quickly Arsenal have got it back again, and Saka is coming forward after exchanging passes with Havertz. He's gone down the right side of the area, left-footed cross into the centre. He's flicked away by Anderson, and Martinelli will allow that to run out of play and away for the first corner of the second half.
Yeah, the big problem for Palace second half is going to be able to maintain that concentration, that defensive discipline to try and stop Arsenal scoring, because of Arsenal's possession and the quality, the way, the speed they move the ball. You've got to be on it the whole time, and it's a really, really difficult task.
Declan Rice has gone into the 6-yard box and is making his presence felt at the back post. He's pushing and pulling on a Crystal Palace jersey as the ball comes in right side, a flick on at the near post by Havertz, goes through the penalty area, out the other side on the right where Saka retrieves it for Arsenal, the away side, cutting down the right, then back in on his left, then back on the right again, trying to toy with Ayew. A low cross into the box is steered away at the near post by Mitchell, and then Saka tries to win it back again, succeeds, and has it far side the right, and Rice feeds him. He goes to the byline, produces another cross into the near post, and it's caught by the goalkeeper Sam Johnstone.
I think Sam Johnstone should be if he is going to decide to kick and not play out, you've got to kick to Ayew. Fantastic header of the ball.
Good aerially, Jordan Ayew, whose last goal was in April against West Ham. He doesn't score too many, but 3 goals and 3 assists since Hodgson came back. Wins a lot of fouls as well for Crystal Palace, and he's good at shielding and carrying the ball. They've
made a tactical switch, Palace, as well. They've swapped the position of, at the moment anyway, Eze and Schlupp. We'll see how that... It looks like Eze might start on the left where that space was, and then Schlupp will play behind Edouard. So same system, just change the personnel.
Let's keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
We've only played about 3 minutes of the second half. It's still 0-0 on Talksport on game night. Roy Hodgson standing down in front of the technical area wearing his suit and tie. And Mikel Arteta, 35 years his junior, wearing a tight pair of grey slacks, shiny black shoes and a black top. He's a little bit more animated inside the technical area, kicking and heading every single ball. It falls to Eze, who moves out towards this right channel. It's cut out by Saliba, and over to the far side it goes. And it's collected by Thomas Partey. Partey runs forward to the halfway line, tucks it infield, and it's played forward by William Saliba, who was superb in the Community Shield, effective last week, and credited with the assist for the Saka goal, though, come on. Ball is with Saka down the right-hand side. He moves into the penalty area. He plays it back to the edge of the box. Ødegaard has to look in his wing mirrors because he's being chased by Schlupp. Partey right side, delivers a cross into the area. It's a deep one, but falls to Martinelli. He brings it down with one beautiful touch, sends it through the 6-yard box, hits the defender Ward, and goes behind and away for a corner. A second of the second half for Arsenal.
Yeah, it came from Saka's brilliant running behind again. Mitchell struggling. Lerma chased him down that time. Keeps getting in behind him. Thankless task he's got, Mitchell. Saka looks electric, constantly moving, wanting the ball as an option.
Corner to be taken by Martinelli. It's a right-footed one, right under the goalkeeper, who punches a big haymaker out to the middle of the Crystal Palace half. Collected by White, then Saka holds off. Ayew wriggles away from him, runs forward, then goes down. Free kick has been given, and Jordan Ayew's already had a yellow card.
Yeah,
Be a little bit careful. But Saka again showing his strength. That was really good strength from Saka, wasn't it? And tenacious.
I don't think there's any point in trying to knock him off the ball. I think you just wait your time and stay goal side and make him play backwards.
Ball in quickly in towards Nketiah, who tries to go around the goalkeeper, who comes out, drags him down, and it's a penalty kick. Ball played quickly, sharply from the set piece down the right channel. Sam Johnstone came careering out. Eddie Nketiah got there first, according to the referee, and the penalty has been given.
I think the linesman give it. Great run from Nketiah again.
No, he got there first, there's no doubt.
Penalty. Too slow off his line.
Yeah, I mean, he can plead his innocence all he likes.
It's the block on...
Was he in an offside position, and was there a foul on the edge of the penalty area as that free kick was taken? That will be the question that VAR look at.
Well, he's onside. It's just whether there's a foul on, I think it's Lerma, although Lerma does make the most of it. I don't think they'll give a foul because they'll probably say he's never going to get there.
Well, Bukayo Saka is going to take the penalty. Well, it looks like he's going to take the penalty. You never can tell nowadays. VAR are checking a possible attacking foul in the build-up to this penalty award. Did Partey commit a foul by blocking off the defender on the edge of the penalty area?
He did. VAR, I just don't think he was going to get there, Sam. It's a brilliant little pass.
Is that relevant? If there was a foul, is that relevant?
He could be off as well. Do you know what? No, I don't think he's off.
He's not off.
No, he's not, no.
Well, there was definite contact, so the foul that is committed on Nketiah is definitely a penalty. But was there a foul in the build-up to it? I think David Coote has now realised that's not the case, and the penalty has been given. So Bukayo Saka has the opportunity from the penalty spot. And there's a little bit of delaying tactics going on here, and then there's a punch of the ball away. We didn't get a yellow card for Sam Johnson for bringing him down for a start, which is a surprise, bearing in mind the current levels of yellow cardage. It's going to be Ødegaard. I knew that they were going to change it. Saka had the ball in his hands. I knew they were going to change it. Saka actually took 3 penalties last season, but missed his last one against West Ham. Did score in the shootout at Wembley. So it falls to Martin Ødegaard, the captain, who got 15 goals last season. He moves back to the edge of the penalty area and he runs up, arcs his run up, steps up, left-footed, and puts it into the other corner after sending Johnston the wrong way, and Arsenal are in front. It's taken a penalty for them to unlock this stubborn Crystal Palace defence, but they are in front on their travels again. The best team away from home last season are leading at Selhurst Park. It's Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 1.
Nicely put away, but it's all because of the quick thinking of Nketiah making the run in behind for the quick free kick. Didn't get to see who actually played the quick free kick because of the post, but very clever. It's what top players do. Quick free kick, bum, Nketiah makes the run, too late to get there, keeper comes out, little nudge round him. He's been electric, Nketiah, he's been getting in some brilliant positions. Deserves all the credit for that penalty.
Well, 1-0 to the Arsenal is the chant from the Arthurwaite stand opposite us over in the far corner. And Martin Ødegaard has his first goal of the season. He was the Arsenal Player of the Year last season. And at his best, he is a terrific footballer. But he has scored the goal, but the plaudits do go to Eddie Nketiah for that brilliant run down the right hand side, into the channel.
Yeah, I think Martinelli as well was the quick free kick.
I think he was, yeah. Just quickly thinking before everyone else was set. Edouard onto Lerma, edge of the penalty area as Crystal Palace look to respond. It's too wide for Ayew, who's fired towards the near post at an almost impossible angle, and it goes into the side netting.
It was a good response, just lack of quality in the final third. Switched out to the right hand side. Ayew's got to cross that. Maybe he didn't, he mishit it, but it went into the near post side netting.
Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 1. You're listening to Talksport. Mikel Arteta has just sat down in his technical area, and I think he will be relieved, to see Arsenal nudge themselves in front in this game. Ball up towards Havertz, who wins a header in the air. It drops for Nketiah, who travels backwards and then tries to lay it off. It's blocked by Cheick Doucouré. One back by Crystal Palace on halfway. Look forward to Odsonne-Édouard, skips past Ben White, and then Saka comes back and puts pressure on him, but the ball has gone wide towards the left-hand side. Lerma's peeled out there. It's picked up now on the edge of the area by Odsonne-Édouard. Here is Lerma in the number 10 position. It's collected by Doucouré, trying to fire it through to Eze.
It's unlucky.
Didn't quite work out because Arsenal had bodies in the way, and they bring the ball clear over on the far side, the right. 56 gone. Talksport, not a great ball forward by Partey, encouraging Doucouré to come forward. Laid off by Doucouré. There's a foul inside the D by Saliba on Eze.
I think he got lucky there. positive response.
And it's going to be a free kick right on the edge of the penalty area.
Saliba on Eze, was a ball into his feet from Decore. Just can't stretch in, and I think he got a bit lucky.
Yeah, it was a bit soft, that one,
yeah,
wasn't it?
And we know what Eze can do from here.
We know what a couple of players can do from this sort of range, but it might well be Eze who takes it. 7 chances created against Sheffield United, 8 shots. None of those shots on target, but he played in all 38 Premier League games last season. He was the top scorer with 10 goals and 4 assists. The only other player to feature in that many games last season for Crystal Palace was Ayew. He has become their new main man. Can he respond just minutes after seeing Crystal Palace concede? He steps back from the free kick, which is dead centre, a yard back from the edge of the D. There's a draft excluder in Ødegaard. Eze strikes it over the top of the bar and a little bit wide of the goal as well. It wasn't easy to get it up and down from that sort of range, but he got it up and it wasn't coming down.
Yeah, I'm in line, more or less in line with it, and the distance was a bit close and the wall's big. It's got to be perfect. I think you've got to try and be a bit cute there, a bit clever. Maybe go under the wall, maybe move the ball before you take, just have one a yard away, just do something a bit different.
Listen, I do not want yellow cards given for the slightest little thing, but I'm looking at this game tonight and I'm thinking that the rules that have been applied over the weekend and the previous weekend are not applying to this one.
Correct.
The situation here where Ramsdale was going to take the goal kick, then decided to give it away after waiting for a couple of seconds, and then Saliba taking it, would have been a yellow card at another game.
Correct.
Now, if players then get suspended for other football teams late, in the next couple of weeks, you can understand why people are going to start getting a little bit irate because there's not consistency across the board.
Yeah, but I think there's consistency around the fact that every season there is a new initiative that goes well for a couple of weeks and a few games and then eases on.
I'm doing it again. But that's okay if you do it for 2 full match days, for example. But if you do it for 1.5,
yeah, I know,
and half the teams get away with it and half the teams don't, that's not particularly fair, is it?
No.
Ball cleared away by Aaron Ramsdale out towards this near side. It took a flick off to Decore and it goes out for a throw in the left wing position. Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 1. You're listening to Talksport.
You know the thing is with Mikel Arteta, when he played, he was much calmer on the pitch than he is as a manager. He didn't really want to get involved in a tussle on the pitch, and if you never get him smashing into you or verbally giving you anything in your ear, he'd just get on with his game. Very different person.
Well, we have a yellow card for Takahiro Tomiyasu for taking too long over a throw-in. The second yellow card of the game. Mikel Arteta is not happy about it. He's having a word with the fourth official, Thomas Bramall. He's taking too long over this throw as well, Tomiyasu. And he's now moving down the left touchline, trying to get away from Decore. Joel Ward knocks him over. It's going to be a throw-in down by the corner flag away to our left-hand side. If you want him to calm down, just give him a dog.
Do you think we're going to get a game this season where a player gets 2 yellows for taking his time on 2 separate throw-ins?
Depends whether they're deciding to enforce the law or not. What day it is. Here is Martinelli. Listen, I'm all for supporting the referees and cleaning up the game. I'm all for that, but just be consistent. It's like the handball over the weekend. Just be consistent. Don't give it one week and then not the other week, and then expect everybody to buy into it. Here is Ben White moving up towards halfway. It's into Thomas Partey, and then he takes it towards the right side. He holds onto the ball and then sends it square towards the left and Saliba, and then here's Declan Rice. Palace, not traditionally great starters. The Eagles have won their first Premier League home game just once in 14 previous attempts, drawing 3 and losing 10, and they lost here in their opening game of the season last year to Arsenal. And
so he stood in front of the ball and stopped
it from taking it. It was a free kick that was given against Kai Havertz. He stopped Eze from taking it on the opening day of the season. The Charity Shield's a yellow card.
I think we're starting to realise, though, aren't we, about the group of officials we've got at the moment. They're pretty bad. They can't even be consistently bad.
Saka up towards Martinelli, who tries to turn, leaves it for Nketiah, who darts down towards the left edge of the area. It's collected by Havertz. Havertz turns and plays it wide towards Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu onto Nketiah. And then it's back infield towards Saliba.
Tomiyasu?
Tomiyasu. Yeah. And that's his nickname. That's what all his pals call him. Down the right is Saka. Saka into the penalty area, trying to trick his way past Mitchell. Sets up Partey, elevates a shot towards the near post. It's punched into the air. It was a rasper of an effort from the edge of the box by Partey, and it was well handled by Johnston, who concedes the corner.
Yeah, Saka's at the heart of everything good they do. I'd be catching that. It's not. He's hit it well enough, but it's right down his face. Should be catching that.
Did you say you'd be catching that?
If I was a goalkeeper, I'd be trying to catch that. Yeah, I'd be embarrassed not to catch that. But no, even me, I'd catch it.
Okay. You're not the
Although I'm not criticising Johnston. I like him. He's a good keeper.
Here's the corner in towards the near post. Another flick on at that near post, aimed towards Nketiah. He's beaten to it by Mitchell. He flicks it out towards the far side. Nketiah does well to keep it in. Finds Martinelli. Good call by him. Martinelli in towards the near post. It's flicked away from the edge of the box by Edouard. And then Ødegaard's effort from 20 yards is well hit over the top of the crossbar. That near post corner, they keep doing it, Arsenal.
I don't really mean to. Not where he put it then.
But I watched them last Saturday against Nottingham Forest, and it was a trend, and that's why I mentioned it right at the beginning of the game. They've done it 4 or 5 times in the first
I think
half.
when you play the near post one, you're trying to get it a bit higher than he is, and just get it right at the near post, but higher. It's just a very hard one. Gary Mack used to have it off to a T when his Coventry days. He just remember they had Big Dion Dublin and someone else that used to kill us with it all the time.
Was Sean Hartson there at the time?
Can't remember.
Might have been after that. Ball is on the halfway line, and it's with Arsenal, who lead by a goal to nil. The goal scored by Martin Ødegaard after 54 minutes. We've played nearly 63 now, and Declan Rice has the ball. Here is White back to Saliba. Arsenal, viewed as a soft touch for many years, especially away from home, but they had the best record on their travels last season. They went some way to shrugging that off, I think. Here is White taking the ball up to halfway, and then in back infield it goes to Saliba again. Can play the game at their pace now, Arsenal, but if you remember rightly, last weekend they didn't end up putting Nottingham Forest to bed and then allowed them back into the game, and that's always a danger when your lead is so slender. Tomiyasu. Support comes from Saliba once again, and Arsenal just playing around with the ball on the halfway line, not committing too many men forward. Rice has breached the press now and picked up the ball and charged forward, and he's run down the right side, laid it off to Saka. Saka faced up by Schlupp, comes infield, gives it to Ødegaard. Ødegaard comes centrally, and now Tomiyasu will play it forward on this near side. He finds Martinelli taking on Ward. He's backpedaling Ward as Martinelli comes up towards him in the left wing position. It goes centrally to Tomiyasu and then into Ødegaard, shut down by Eze, who gets there well to cover the ground, shut down the spaces, and the ball bounces out towards the near side.
It makes such a difference for a team like Arsenal when you get the first goal. You can be really patient in your build up there, and you don't have to force the issue. You see it with Manchester City so often go one up in games, and then they can just probe and wear you down. And Arsenal got very good at that when they've gone up in games.
Ramsdale under pressure, left-footed clearance upfield towards Nketiah, headed away, comes out towards this near side. It's smashed up by Joel Ward. Bit of breaking news to bring you. Brighton are close to completing the £25 million signing of Lille midfielder Carlos Baleba. The Seagulls look to have seen off rival interest from Nottingham Forest. That's Talksport sources understanding that. And elsewhere, Thierry Henry has been appointed as the French under-21 boss. The former international will lead Les Bleus for the next European under-21 2025 qualifying campaign and for the Paris 2024 Olympics. Here on the left-hand side, the ball is with Martinelli. Centrally plays the ball towards Nketiah, turns, spins, tries to get a shot away. It's blocked brilliantly by Mark Guehi. Comes back towards Havertz, whose volley is well wide of goal.
Yeah, it was unlucky though. I see why he's trying to cut across it with the outside of his left foot. Good play, Martinelli inside with Joe Ward. Bad defending actually. It's a great run in behind, but it gives him too much space. ends up falling to Havertz, tries to cut across. It's the right thing to do. Just catches it a bit full.
It's currently Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 1. For the latest odds, you can head to Ladbrokes, where right now you can get Crystal Palace to win at 22-1, Arsenal to win at 5-1 on. Back the draw at 9-2. Tomiyasu has just fouled Jordan Ayew, and it's a second yellow card for Tomiyasu, and then a red, and Arsenal are down to 10 men. 2 bookable offences for Takehiro Tomiyasu. The first one was delaying the taking of a throw-in, the second one a foul on Ayew, and it's a sending off for Mikel Arteta's auxiliary left back. The Japanese international has gone, and after losing Jurrien Timber in the game last week, they've lost another defender, this time to suspension, and for the rest of this match he pulled Ayew's shirt back on halfway. There wasn't much in it, just a little tug, but enough to get a yellow card. He's off.
Looks a little bit harsh, you know. I'm not sure he did tug his shirt. Maybe I've missed it. I'd need to see another replay, but I don't think they're going to change it.
Well, they can't, because it's 2 yellow cards, so they cannot overturn it.
Well, all I can say is if you don't take forever on the throw-in, you don't have a problem now, do you? But it doesn't look like he's pulled him, Sam. I think Ayew's made the most, just gone over with a little bit of touch, but I might be wrong on that.
Well, Tomiyasu's not happy. He's given the eyes to the ultras behind the goal. The Holmesdale Road end is revelling in it. Airport Albert Sturbenborg is talking to Mikel Arteta about how they're going to solve this conundrum now, because they've got quite some time to play with 10 players.
Well, we saw Liverpool cope really well, didn't we, when they went down to 10?
Yes, on Saturday against Bournemouth.
And they had to go up a gear, and they really did. What are Palace going to do, and how are Arsenal going to react? Fascinating now for the last quarter of the game?
Yeah, last quarter of the game, and Gabriel, I think, is going to get ready to come on here to stiffen their defence. At this moment in time, Saliba is joined by quite a deep back 5 at this moment in time, which also includes Kai Havertz and Martinelli. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next, but Palace might have more of the ball, something they've been more used to in recent times. The ball is out on this right hand side. Ward takes it down the right onto Ayew. Palace, who had more of the ball, averaged more of the ball than any other time. Oh, he's had his shirt pulled again by Havertz. Well, if you're going to give a yellow card for what Tomiyasu did, you've got to get a yellow card for that, right? Because that was a proper pull of the shirt.
Oh yes, Sam, you should be on the board of the PGMOL.
I don't get it.
I know.
I don't get it. I don't get how it can sort of be like that.
Yeah, it is inconsistent. Yeah, I agree with you.
Martinelli is off, and on comes Gabriel to go into the heart of the defence. Eze will take the free kick on the right hand side. No yellow card for Kai Havertz.
Do you know what the key is when you've got one over? You have to up the tempo and press everywhere to make it count. You've got to squeeze the life out of the 10 men.
Eze with the free kick in towards Ayew, swivels, hits it.
Missed it.
It's blocked by Saliba, and it bobbles into the arms of Ramsdale. It was a good cross into the centre, and he just peeled off his marker. There was space, and he hit it. Just sort of helped it on. He didn't really catch it, did he? And then it was blocked by Saliba, who just got a cross in front of the front post.
That was a good block. Yeah, good block from Saliba, but he didn't catch it properly.
It's away by Gabriel, up through the middle looking for Nketiah, who's probably going to have a lot of running to do now. Anderson touched it last, it goes out for a throw-in. Mikel Arteta is going absolutely balmy on the near touchline. He's outside of his technical area, apparently that's okay. There's 2-3 of them inside the technical area. Been told by the 4th official, Thomas Bramall, to go and sit down. He only allowed 1 in there, but I suppose Albert Sturbenborg is probably correct when he says there is only 1 in there, because Arteta's outside, he's down the touchline. Here is Doucouré back towards the right hand side. It's Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 1. Arsenal down to 10 players after the sending off of Takehiro Tomiyasu. Good turn by Jefferson Lerma into Eze, and then back to Doucouré once again, and then it's up through to
Joel Ward, and then out to Ayew. Ayew travels in from the right touchline. He's got some space in the middle. He plays it forward towards the edge of the box. It's away by White, and then it's collected by Anderson. Going to make a change here, Crystal Palace, to try and stiffen up the midfield, give them a little bit more maybe attacking thrust. They're going to bring on Nauru Hamadou. Here on the edge of the area is Eze, out towards the left, and it's collected by Schlupp, and then Eze jinking his way down the left hand side, tries to take on Rice. He comes inside, then out, then back inside again, skips past two coaches. Partey brings him down. Surely it's a penalty. Surely it's a penalty.
Oh, they're waving the yellow card at him as well.
Well, Ødegaard's waved the yellow card at the referee.
So did Partey.
In order to try and get Eze booked. It looked like a penalty from where we are. There certainly was seen to be contact. There was great skill by the slaloming Eze to cut in first past Rice, then past Partey. Partey says he pulled his leg away. Did he, Danny Murphy?
Yeah, I don't think he... Ooh, I think there might be contact.
Contact doesn't always mean penalty.
No, but it did in the penalty at Liverpool, didn't it?
Yeah, but you know, let's
and the one at Brentford last week.
Let's not talk about consistency. They are reviewing it on VAR because
that doesn't look. We're seeing different angles.
David Coote is waiting, and now he said throwing over the far side. He made everybody wait, and then over on the far side, he said it's going to be a throw-in.
Well, I agree, it's not a penalty. But I've seen two others in the week just gone that they've given for the same thing, where there's been contact but not enough for them to go down. I think it was Brentford, Tottenham,
yes,
and Liverpool Bournemouth.
Jensen, who went down under pressure from Son, and Liverpool Bournemouth was Dominic Szoboszlai in the corner of the penalty area after the challenge on Saturday afternoon. Jeff Schlupp is coming off, and on comes Hamada. Played 8 times last season. Hamada, the young Frenchman who signed from Stuttgart last January, was in the Juventus youth system.
I think he's going to put Ayew up front with Edouard, which makes sense. Makes absolute sense.
Well, more attacking players on the field, I think, makes real sense, with Hamada coming out towards his near side, Ayew going up with Edouard, and pushing Schlupp on over on the far side. So they're playing almost like a front four now, aren't they?
Well, Mitchell, I think, or is it Mitchell who went off? No, Schlupp went off. Mitchell's on the left wing. Yeah.
We'll keep an eye on it, see what happens. Mitchell's gone right up on the far side, the left, hasn't he, yet?
Partey and Saka are now playing wing backs for Arsenal, with Ben White, Saliba and Gabriel as 3 centre-halves, which is, again, I think is the right thing to do.
Yeah, Saka's come out towards his left-hand side, isn't he? He's playing as a left wing-back. He has done that on several occasions before. Did that for the England under-17s, I think, when I saw him play in Chesterfield in the European Championships a few years ago. Not that long ago, actually, which is quite amazing, really, because he's only 21. Ball sent back by Jefferson Lerma, back into central midfield. Crystal Palace, with a man extra, have 15 minutes to try and find an equaliser. And Arsenal, well, they will know that Roy Hodgson hasn't lost a home game yet since he's been back at the Selhurst Park. Won by Ødegaard, flicks it round the corner. Nketiah's been charged with getting them up the pitch. He runs across Lerma, who brings him down, wins the free kick. Lerma says that there's nothing wrong with that, and the free kick has been given just over the halfway line.
I think he's done well, Nketiah.
He's been good all game, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's played the role well. Stayed up high, made the runs in behind, been a nuisance, been a threat, had his chances. Just what you want from a striker. You know, he hasn't come drifting out wide to look for the ball. He hasn't come deep trying to make, get lots of touches and be self-indulgent.
Havertz back to White, and then Arsenal trying to keep hold of the ball for as long as possible now. They don't want to invite pressure from Crystal Palace. They want to keep it as far away from their goal. They know that Crystal Palace will just smell a little bit of blood here. Arteta said this week there will be times this season where they need to bring
their A game, their mental fortitude will have to come to the fore. They'll have to be physical and strong and repel teams that come at them. They had to see it through in the game against Nottingham Forest on opening day, and they've got to get to the line here against Crystal Palace in order to get 2 wins from the opening 2 games. Partey away, but he just kicks it over the halfway line to take a bit of pressure off and then get Arsenal up to the halfway line, but it's straight back to a Crystal Palace player.
Thing is, for Palace, they've got to keep risking losing the ball. Don't get lulled in, so just keeping the ball for the sake of keeping the ball, because all you're doing then is just seeing out time. You've got to keep pressing. When I say pressing, you've got to keep probing. Keep trying to play the ball through the lines. Keep trying to play them over the top, round the sides. Make them defend.
You've got to push them. You've got to try and make something happen, haven't you?
Yeah. What happens a lot of the time, you see teams get so comfortable because they've got the extra man. They just keep the ball moving and circulating, and actually don't make chances because they think by keeping the ball they're doing okay. To make chances, you have to take risks, even with the one extra.
Here is Doucouré. Anderson comes up to help out the attack. He's 10 yards short of the Arsenal penalty area. He sings it towards the penalty spot. It goes over the head of Ayew and straight through to Mitchell on the other side, and he had to just bound out towards the far side to keep it in, and he just about does that. Goes back in again from that left-hand side. Comes out to Eze, and then Doucouré, and then back to halfway, and Mark Gay back in from Lerma, chested down into Eze. Doucouré takes over. He's got support. Edouard plays it towards the left. Mitchell chips the ball into the box.
Good Ed.
Hamada tried to charge into the area. There's a collision involving Anderson. It's a free kick. Nketiah says that he was fouled. The referee agrees with him. Danny's not so sure.
Looked like got the ball. First instinct's normally the right one. Yeah, he got the ball.
Well, his foot came up high towards Nketiah's chest, which is why the free kick was given, I think. Arteta's making another change. Jorginho is coming on. And who's he going to replace here?
Havertz, probably.
Kai Havertz at the moment walking towards the halfway line. The referee is glancing over to see whether that substitution is going to take place. The fourth official hasn't even got the board with him.
Nketiah.
It's Nketiah who's coming off.
Yeah, Havertz up top.
So Havertz is going to lead the line, and Jorginho is going to come on in place of Nketiah. And I'm a little bit surprised by that. Is that because he can hold the ball up better and Nketiah's strength is running in behind?
A little bit, yeah. He probably feels he's got more of a physical presence, but I think also it's a simple case of an easier option at times, isn't it? But yeah, it'll be the physicality, but I actually think the get-out ball when you've got 10 is in behind.
Well, then if you are sucking the team onto you...
Yeah, I'd prefer a speed merchant up top when you've got 10 than a big man.
You've got someone who's incredibly rapid in Eddie Nketiah, haven't you?
Yeah.
But I suppose they've still got Saka on the pitch as well, although he's playing a little bit deeper on this left-hand side now as a left wing-back to compensate for the loss of numbers that they've got now. Arsenal, they do lead by a goal to nil, but that goal seems a long time ago now since Takahiro Tomiyasu was sent off for 2 bookable offences. The ball's gone out of play on this near side. Joe Wall's not happy. He's barked at the official on this near side.
He was barked at him because he's got it completely wrong.
Apparently that's okay as well though now. You can bark at them.
Yeah, I mean the rules have gone out the window for the officials tonight.
Totally gone out the window.
Absolutely. You can do the fake cards.
You can kick the ball away. You can change the throw-in taker. You can have a go at the officials. No problem. Today the new rules have been rested.
Yeah. Apart from
if you're
apart from the one he did actually yellow card him.
Here is Gabriel back to halfway. Saliba. And again, let me reiterate, I'm not one for wanting everybody sent off and yellow carded every 5 minutes. But what I want is the law to be applied evenly across the whole of the league, not just here and there.
Yeah, I hear you. It is frustrating.
Here is Gurhi back to Anderson, up towards the halfway line. You're listening to Talksport. Out towards the wide left it goes. Eze, then into Jefferson Lerma. Lerma wide of the centre circle. It's across to
Anderson. Anderson tries to play the ball infield, and then it's picked up by Gay once again. Out wide it goes into Eze. Eze across to Gay, and again you've got to have some purpose with this possession. You can't just keep playing it in front of the centre circle and hoping that something's going to happen for you. They're 1-0 down here, Crystal Palace. They need to find a way past this Arsenal defence, an Arsenal defence which is flexed into a 5 now, because they're trying to retreat as Odsonne-Edouard tries to look for a way through, can't do so. Partey finds Havertz. Havertz holds onto the ball well, and now Rice springs forward over the halfway line, touches it to his left, and Saka goes charging down the left-hand side. 81 minutes on the clock, Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 1. Jorginho, who's come on to stiffen up that midfield and to keep hold of the possession, gives it to Rice, who then almost gives it away. He pulls back Hamada, and then as the ball's played forward towards Gabriel, there's a foul by Jordan Ayew. It's a free kick just in from the touchline.
Yeah, that looked a bit soft as well. I don't know who's having a worse day.
Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 0 on Talksport with Now. Don't forget, with Now you can stream all of the Sky Sports action like Crystal Palace versus Arsenal live right now for $11.99. No contract, search Now Sports. Here is Ayew down the right side into Hamada. Hamada moves up to the edge of the penalty area and then lays it back to Doucouré. A little bit of frustration creeping in amongst the Crystal Palace support. It's driven up towards
You don't want your right back, Joe Ward, taking it into his feet on the edge of the box, trying to make things happen.
Well, they've cleared it away, Ben White, high into the air, but it's gone miles away.
It takes a really confident footballer, a brave footballer, to keep trying to make things happen when you know the crowd are getting a bit frustrated. Just keep probing, keep trying, take the risks. Little balls in behind, little balls into feet, little 1-2s. You've got to keep trying to make things happen. You can't just keep circulating the ball.
The ball's out of play over on the far side. They want to make a change. Joel Ward is coming off.
The right decision.
And on comes young Jesserun Raksaki. The winger signed from Chelsea's youth system, was brilliant, absolutely brilliant on loan at Charlton last season. He was the top scorer, Players' Player of the Year, had a great end to the League One season at the Valley. An exciting player, Raksaki. And he's gone on to try and make a difference wearing the number 49 shirt. He's playing on the right hand side as the ball comes into the penalty area. He looks to attack this cross. It's away by Gabriel. Back in towards the edge of the penalty area. It's headed away by Declan Rice and out towards the far side. Ødegaard trying to get his team further up the pitch. Rice ain't happy out on this playing service down in front of us as we approach the 84th minute of the game. Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 1. There might be a nervy few minutes for Mikel Arteta for the second week in a row. Hanging on against Nottingham Forest, hanging on against Palace, although Palace haven't had a chance really since they've gone a man up. A ball out towards the left-hand side. Mitchell onto Eze, inside the penalty area. It goes back to Eze, and then from Mitchell he tries to get round Partey. Good tackle out for a corner.
They've done it well, they've managed it well. Quick change to 5 at the back, right decision. Keeping your shape, dropping deep, don't mind that at all. People call it negative, but you've got a 1-0 lead. You keep everyone behind the ball. You do this in training all the time. Very hard to score again.
Nicolas Jover, the set-piece coach, has come out to the edge of the penalty area for Arsenal to try and direct the traffic inside the box as it's headed away by Ben White. Bounces on the edge of the penalty area. Arsenal trying to get it clear. Rice manages to nudge it out of the box, but it's with Hamada into Odsonne-Edouard, who twists away from the defender Saliba, then gets the return ball, tries to take on Gabriel, gets just something on it, prods it clear, comes out to Saka, who's in the left wing position. He does brilliantly to get it away, but there's no out ball, and Anderson's got it back, and he's pinpoint with his delivery. He wraps it into Raksaki. It comes to the edge of the box, and Eze. Ødegaard is there to block it. Partey gets back into a right full-back position, and then he takes it to the touchline and clears upfield and hefts it away towards halfway. Still 5 minutes of normal time to hang on for Arsenal.
They look comfortable at the moment. Got good shape, good line, lots of bodies in there.
Ball into the box, and Raksaki gets up there, tries to get on the end of the header, but I think it might have been Edouard who was closest to it, and he tried to flick it on just before that, and he didn't get a proper touch on it.
It was a little bit behind him, Sam. Good ball in from the left from Mitchell. It's a bit low and a bit behind him, and he can't stoop backwards just in front. That's what they've got to do though. Ball wide, crosses in. Ball wide, crosses in. Balls, just keep putting the balls in there.
Jakub Kivior and Alok Zinchenko about to come on for Arsenal. And Mikel Arteta has just sort of had to wrestle with Oleg Zinchenko down on the touchline as the instructions are being put to him. There's a few people inside that little technical space once again trying to influence proceedings. All three of the men for Crystal Palace, Paddy McCarthy, Ray Lewington, Roy Hodgson, all trying to get instructions onto the field of play. We're running out of time as far as Crystal Palace are concerned. There's only 3 minutes and a bit to go, and it's 1-0 to Arsenal. And they've just kept the ball a lot on the edge of the penalty area, shifting it around. It needs to go in from the wide area, and the problem is it hasn't gone in often enough. And it's just been Arsenal keeping them at arm's bay since they went down to 10 players after the sending off of Takehiro Tomiyasu. It's on to Ahamada, then Ayew holding off two defenders, plays it wide, Raksaki junks in field, left-footed drive, hits Gabriel, comes to Ayew, edge of the penalty area. Havertz tries to get it clear. It's well won in midfield by Jefferson Lerma, and it's won back towards the right-hand side by Anderson, who sprays it to the left. Chested down by Tyreek Mitchell, takes on Partey. Partey trying to push him further wide. He gets it through his legs, finds Ayew inside the area, down by the byline, just tries to nudge it into the 6-yard box, and it's cleared away by Arsenal's defence, who are hanging on.
Better from Palace. Crosses in, balls into feet, little bit of intricacy.
Doucouré into the final 2.5 minutes on Talksport on game night with Now Sports. Don't forget, with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action for just $11.99 with no contract. Search Now Sports. Ball out wide, picked up by Ahamada. His left-footed cross is a decent one towards Edouard. He drops inside the box. There's a tangle between Raksaki and Gabriel. The referee says play on. Arsenal really deep, most players inside their 18-yard box as the ball goes in towards Ayew, headed away by Saliba, who took charge. Arsenal having to stretch every sinew to stay in this game at 1-0. The ball on the left-hand side. Can they find an equaliser, Crystal Palace? The ball sent centrally to Anderson. They've got to maintain their lead, Arsenal, if they want to go level with Manchester City and Brighton on maximum points. It's Saka on this near side who gets felled by Ahamada, and it's going to be a free kick in the left full-back position. Here come the changes.
Silly. Saka's going nowhere there. Didn't need to foul. Bit of naivety from the young lad.
Off comes, I think it's Havertz who's coming off, and the other change is going to be Martin Ødegaard, who hands the captain's armband to Jorginho. Jorginho, oh no, it's Saka who's going to come off for Zinchenko, and Kivior who's coming on for Ødegaard. Havertz is going to stay on. He's just come over towards the near touchline to have a word with Mikel Arteta. Everybody's slapping hands. The problem is they've had a couple of good balls into the box, and they've just gone over the head of Ayew, or just gone over the head of Odsonne Edouard. Maybe they needed that Croydon giraffe in there to nod it home. They just haven't been precise enough with the delivery, have they?
No, they've lacked a tiny little bit of quality in the final third, but since the sending off, Arsenal have made a point of just defending in numbers and stopping them making chances, and they've done it really, really well. Good game management, good decision from the manager, and well done to the players for carrying it out.
Still time yet. Ball is on the right with Ben White of Arsenal. He's high up inside opposition territory. He was felled by Tyreek Mitchell. The referee says play on. Partey infield, Jorginho, Havertz back to goal 10 yards centrally away from the penalty area, goes wide to Oleg Zinchenko. Zinchenko will keep possession here, give it to Rice, Jorginho, and then back to halfway. Infield to Zinchenko, then out to Rice, and then back to Partey, and then forward by Jorginho. It's good football by Arsenal, this, keeping possession, taking the pressure off and dragging themselves up the field of play. And then Havertz has been played in by Zinchenko. He just couldn't get away down that left channel because the ball from Zinchenko wasn't perfect. It's good to see him back though from his calf injury. Clearance away from deep inside their own territory. And I didn't see how many of that. That's 7 minutes of added time at the end of the first half. There was a couple of posts between me and the fourth official there. Here is Ben White over on the far side, the Arsenal right.
Talksport on a Monday night. The sports bar incoming. 03717223344. Arsenal have been down to 10 players since Takahiro Tomiyasu was sent off in the 67th minute, the same time that Naif Agurd was given his marching orders on Sunday at the London Stadium. He too got a second yellow card. Foul on Kai Havertz generates a free kick. I think that might be another yellow card, is it?
Yep.
And this one coming for Doucouré.
They've huffed and puffed, haven't they, a little bit since the sending off Palace.
But one of the things that I think was the highlight of last week, right? They created so many chances. They had lots and lots of shots. I think I mentioned it earlier on. They had 24 shots in that game against Sheffield United, but they scored one goal. Eze had 7 shots, but he had none on target. That's their problem, isn't it? That they don't score enough goals.
Yeah, I think against this Arsenal side, it's more understandable because they haven't had the ball as much. But I think what will disappoint them is the 22, 23 minutes they've had and longer with the extra man, is that they haven't really created a proper quality opportunity, which you should be really when you've had an extra man for that long.
And it's not a stat that's just from this season though. Going back last season, out of that brilliant run, they still didn't score anywhere near as many goals in those 11 games at the end of last season with Roy Hodgson in charge as the other teams that ended up putting the points that they put on during that period. Here's Jefferson Lerma for Crystal Palace, and we've still got a few minutes of added time, 4.5 of them still to play. It's 1-0 to Arsenal, who've got one fewer men on the field, but they're going sideways and backwards rather than forwards and purposeful, Crystal Palace, and that lacks penetration. Eze into the box, and it's going to elude everyone.
Good ball. It's good ball. Do you know what? Really, you should have everyone flying in on that ball. There should be more urgency when you're 1-0 down when you got an extra man. I don't think there's too many coaches these days who probably do that much work on it. And I think they're going to have to. You're going to get a lot of games this season with people playing 11 against 10.
Well, Havertz has just nudged Anderson off the ball, then he's kicked the ball away, and that's a yellow card for Kai Havertz. And maybe it's a good job that the referee kept his cards in his pocket beforehand.
Yeah.
It might have been down to 9 aside by now. Lerma. Oh, back to Gurhi. It was a little bit wayward. 93 minutes 30 seconds on the clock. And we're ticking time away here. Palace are going to be defeated at home for the first time since Roy Hodgson rejoined the club. Raksaki tries to play it round the corner for Ayew. Ayew trying to get on the end of it, and he bounces into Gabriel, and then that goes behind for a goal kick, and there's high fives and fist pumps and celebrations from Arsenal as they look to run the clock down, but also because they know that they're getting closer, inching closer and closer.
Do you know what we used to give ourselves high fives and slaps on the back, and we'd won a big derby game or something. Now you're doing it for getting a goal kick.
It's a different world now, mate.
Oh my good God.
Listen, you've got to celebrate the small wins. Danny's just
gone mad.
Danny's just rocked back in his chair. He's wiped the sweat from his brow. He's closed his eyes. He can't quite believe what he's witnessing here. Rice helps the ball high into the night sky. Drops at the feet of Anderson. Not the best of clearances. And across comes Lerma and gets it back.
No, go
to his
long.
Goalkeeper. And he goes short. Throws it. Bowls it out into the path of Gurhi. We're in the final few seconds of the game here. The ball is wide out on the left-hand side. 94 minutes and 30 seconds play. It's collected by Eze. Infield it goes. It's lifted into the box. Aimed towards Raksaki. Heads it back across into the 6-yard area. Away by Gabriel. Drops inside the 6-yard box for Edouard. Out comes the goalkeeper. It's fired over the top by Mitchell.
That's the chance.
At a 45-degree angle. About 3 yards back from the angle of the 6-yard box. It fell to Tyreek Mitchell. Ramsdale had come flying out, hadn't quite taken command, and the ball went into the Holmesdale Road end of the ground.
Do you see what you get though if you put the ball in the box with enough bodies in there?
Chaos.
Yeah, chaos. Instead of side to side to side, go long, get second balls. Make it difficult, make them defend. He's just got to key that down. It was a tired, come out to the left-hand corner of the box. Mitchell just slashed out a little bit.
Well, Mikel Arteta does not look entirely happy.
He'll be delighted if they get this over the line.
But he
and
will
they
be
probably
satisfied.
deserve to be honest, Sam.
Yeah, I don't think Palace have done enough. I think that's probably something that Roy Hodgson might rue a little bit later on, as Surrey Mitchell goes down the left-hand side, gets the ball into the box. It's away by Saliba and dug out, and they're defending well here. Ball out over on the far side, thrown into Eze. It's nudged back towards that far side where it's picked up by Mitchell. Gay infield to Hamada, and that invited Rice to come across and close it down, because it was a heavy touch by Hamada, who's got it back again centrally. Mikel Arteta just keeping Rice in his slot, saying stay back, block up the channels as the ball goes down the right for Crystal Palace. Maybe one last attack. We're in the 96th minute here. The ball is on the right side. It's collected by Raksaki. Decent crossing towards the edge of the 6-yard area, and Ramsdale comes out, pats it to the floor, gets on it, and they all go over and pat him on the head and give him a big cuddle and say, well done, Aaron, for using your hands.
Not enough pace on the cross. He's got it on his left foot, Raksaki, and just couldn't quite get it out of his feet to get enough pace on it.
There's the 97 minutes that we've had, and there is the full-time whistle, and Arsenal celebrate a victory, a hard-fought victory. And now Mikel Arteta's team, even like Mondays, the Kings of London win another derby and another away game. They built their title challenge on Derby Day wins and victories away from home last season, and that consistency on the road has started again this campaign. They weren't perfect last week, they weren't perfect this week. They had to dig in with 10 players for the final 23 minutes of the game after Takahiro Tomiyasu was sent off for 2 bookable offences. The second one certainly maybe more debatable than the first, but they got the job done, and they join Brighton and City on 6 points and leave Palace with their first defeat at home of Roy Hodgson's second spell. In truth, Palace didn't create enough once Arsenal went down to 10 men, and as a result it finishes Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 1.
And as those away fans across the way are singing 1-0 to the Arsenal, Mikel Arteta strode onto the pitch, went straight up to the match officials and shook their hands, and then went over to those Arsenal fans to applaud their support throughout the course of the evening. And I think, Danny Murphy, you're about right there. Arsenal, you've got to say, they've edged the win, but they've deserved the win tonight.
Yeah, I thought that they grew into the game and had the better chances. Got unlucky with the Nketiah one at the post, and then he had that great chance that he put over the bar. And Palace had their moments. You know, Palace looked solid. I don't think you can go toe for toe with this Arsenal side. I think you're going to be in a world of trouble with Saka and Martinelli wide. We saw Saka outstanding against it. Every time he gets the ball, something looks like it's going to happen. His strength, his pace, his courage. So it was right for Palace to play that way and try and hit them on the counter. Then they get the goal, the penalty, which it was right decision. You think then the game's looking quite comfortable. The sending off happens and swings momentum to Palace. But in the end, they didn't have that little bit of quality, that bit of guile that you need when there's a back five in, that bit of luck even to get a chance, really.
There's a lot of love between Rice and Odegaard. Big smiles and hugs between those two at the end, and it's because Arsenal are joint top. They're thirds behind Manchester City and behind the leaders of the Premier League, Brighton and Hove Albion. They're the only 3 sides with 100% records after 2 games, but boy did Arsenal have to work hard for it. And I'm intrigued. Let's talk about the red card for Tomiyasu. The first yellow card was for taking forever over a throw-in, and the second was for what was deemed to be a foul on Ayew. I think there must have been a foul. I couldn't see it, but Ayew was away, but he stopped and
yeah, there must have been some coming together.
Yeah.
The thing is, you don't get yourself in that position if you don't do the silly time, well, taking forever on the throw-in. We've seen it enough weeks now. Sam was talking, wasn't he, about the inconsistency of someone's taking ages on a throw-in and doesn't get a yellow, and then 10 minutes later he's doing it and he does.
Totally.
And I get that, and we're going to get that for a while. If it cuts it out, let's hope they continue with that, because the petulance I don't like anyway. But There was some strange refereeing decisions. Overall, I thought it was a really intriguing game. It was a tactical it was a real tactical battle with Roy having the midfielders dropping in and stifling Odegaard and Havertz. There was lots of jeopardy in the game. I really enjoyed it.
Just one more point on the refereeing, because I think at times it was bizarre, very inconsistent as well. The penalty that Palace claimed they should have had, and the fans wanted them to go to VAR and all of that stuff. How does the Liverpool penalty get given and that penalty doesn't get given? Whether you think they're penalties or not, that's the inconsistency we're talking about, and that's what fans can't stand. That's why we've got a problem. If Howard Webb, and I hope he is listening to this, that's what we really get frustrated with. Clearly not a penalty at Anfield, but it's given. I personally thought that was a penalty there. I can understand it's debatable, but when the Liverpool one is given, how is that not given?
Yeah, I understand your point. I don't think any of them are actually. I'm not sure that's a pen. The Liverpool one wasn't. The Tottenham wasn't. The Brentford Tottenham one the week before. I mean, the key to it for me is what I said at the beginning. If you make a decision on the pitch and it's wrong, fine. Don't have an ego about it. It's fine to be wrong, and vice versa. If you don't make a decision, it's also fine for the VAR to say you've missed that one. Come and have a look. Let's get the VAR communicating with the referees more to come and use the monitor more, because we've talked about this before, and some people say, "Oh, it's wasting." I think if you give the referee the note, it doesn't mean that you have to change it. Just come and have a look at it, because I'm not sure about that one. The ego thing is that I know how he uses the words, this high bar of making sure we don't re-referee the game.
Yeah,
I'd like to see if you want the referee to remain in control and look like he's making the decisions, then there's nothing wrong with VAR saying to him, come and have a look. And if he can come and have a look again and goes, actually, I'm fine with it, no problem.
Yeah.
But let's get more of that going on. I feel that's the only way. Instead of this kind of inconsistent we've got, and this really frustrating conversation we're having, even in the first 2 weeks again of this season, just let them communicate. Get over to the monitor, lose the ego, lose this concern of what people think about who's ref and who's not. It's a team of referees together trying to get the right decision. That's it.
Well, there were also, straight after that incident, and it wasn't to dive, I mean, there was contact, but it's not necessarily a penalty. I see what you're saying, but there were two Arsenal players waving imaginary cards in Coote's face, and he did nothing about it. More inconsistency. But let's talk about the football. So, like you, thought it was a fascinating game. Clear that Crystal Palace's problem is goals. We discussed that during commentary. What we've seen from Arsenal, I said at the beginning of the show, are we going to see more credentials from Arsenal that they're going to have another tilt at winning the title? Well, I think we saw that, because there was some creativity going forward. There were chances that they created. They scored the free kick was a genius free kick that led to the winning goal. And then we saw a real massive defensive effort. And I know the high-fiving was a little bit OTT, but a fantastic effort from Arsenal to keep Palace out.
Well, I think the strength in depth is obviously better. I think the adaptability of Mikel has grown, because he's not so rigid in his formation. He's trying different things. He's trying to progress the team and the tactical acumen of the team. Hence the fact you're seeing, in effect, in the first half, was a 3 with Partey tucking him from right back into central midfield. So I think that's a plus. The only thing that concerns me a little bit is that if you are going to start having that adaptation of the fullback coming in, then you are going to leave yourself more susceptible down that right side to problems. And against better teams, there would have been some problem for them tonight. And of course, Tomiyasu at left back, I said he struggled there before. He's not a natural left back. They've got Zinchenko back, so he'll probably fit into there. And they've still got Kieran Tierney, I think.
Well, he's still an Arsenal player.
Although there are rumours.
Wasn't on the bench tonight.
But if he is going to start tweaking that normal 4, the way they're playing, they might find the odd game that gets a bit found out. But you know what? He's trying to move the squad forward. He's trying to move the team forward. They've come here on a Monday night, and Sam said earlier, don't really win on Monday nights that often. They've done it. They've looked comfortable, and they've rode out the storm with 10 men. Well done.
Danny, thanks very much. Got it, we didn't see the giraffe, but there you go. Me and Danny Mills are on kick-off tomorrow night from 7. Sports Bar next on Talksport with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. 03717 223344. It's game night, and we brought you a game that had pretty much everything. Some interesting decisions from the officials, including a red card. It didn't stop two totally committed sides going at it for the 97 minutes or more. In the end, the 10 men of Arsenal held firm, and live on Talksport, live on game night, it was a brilliant free kick that led to the Gunners' winner.